And we're live. I didn't quite get the timing right on that one either.
So we just looking at the screen all awkward and shit for a couple seconds?
No, we're good. We're here. We're live. Hello, everybody. Good morning.
Hooray.
Welcome
Hello,
to Morning Ritual.
We made it. We're here.
We did it.
We're queer.
We're here. We're queer. We only mildly messed up the timing on the intro.
This is gonna be an unhinged ass episode. I hope y'all
Last week the vibes were rancid. This week they're unhinged. Let's go.
Were the vibes rancid last week?
Oh yeah.
They devolved. We devolved into rancid territory pretty quickly.
Oh shit. I mean, I'm fine. Sometimes you just need to be a little trash baby.
There you go.
Life.
Hello everybody. Welcome to Morning Ritual. I'm one of your hosts, Noir. You can find me all over the internet as TheNoirEnigma. That's Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. I go by he, they.
Oh, he, they pronouns? Sorry, I interrupted you.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I was gonna bounce off of your intro.
I hand it off every time.
I know. But I was gonna bounce off this time. I figured I was gonna try something a little different.
Well, that's the show, everybody. Thanks for joining me.
I'm just gonna go through those other long ass outro.
All right. Bounce.
Yeah, I'm your other host, Anita. My pronouns are she, they. You can find me here.
Just here.
This is where I live.
Hello, I'm Kelsey, aka Magpie.
Tell us about yourself.
My pronouns are they. I've just got all of them. Got the full gambit on days. You want a they? You gotta ask me.
This is the they stream. The they team.
I am the they dealer. Would you like a they? Would you like to purchase a they today from my bag of theys? You can find me at MX_Dangers in most places except for Twitch because somebody already had it. Jerk. So I'm MX_Magpie here. And I apologize in advance if you hear my cat meowing sadly like a pathetic baby in the background of the stream. She's going berserk.
Also, I just realized that the captions hadn't refreshed. And there was something that we were talking about the green room that was on captions, but it's all good.
Oh, which part? Which part, Anita?
It's all good. Don't worry about it.
Is it the big old dick?
Yes, big old dick was on screen for like a good 5 minutes there.
Oh, wow. Oh, no.
Please, Mix,
oh, no.
Can I have a they?
Yes, you can. You can always have a they. You deserve a they. You can have as many they.
Just making it rain theys.
Yeah, some people make it rain money. I make it rain pronouns.
You gotta turn in your he's and she's to get your they.
It costs you 2 keys to get a they.
Okay. But what if I already have a they? Is that like some sort of credit score?
Yeah, you get a credit already. So if you have one they, it only costs you. It's like a depreciating thing. So if you have one already,
take pronoun, leave a pronoun.
I know where all those he's go. To Michael Jackson. Get it? All right.
Wow. That was like a fucking... So what you just did there was create the first queer old person joke. That's what you did. Because that is literally like if I were a decrepit old grandpa like making jokes about Michael Jackson, like that's what I would say. I'm proud of you.
I didn't feel good doing it. I felt real bad the whole time I did it, but I couldn't stop myself. All right, so
I don't know where we're gonna go from here. Let's go.
Let's tell the people about what you do. What do you do, Kelsey?
Cry.
Same.
You and me
valid.
both.
I am a streamer when I have time. I love doing like TTRPG streams. We haven't in a while, and I miss it. But for the most part, right now, my big boy job is working on Pokemon Go. Where I'm the global lead community manager of 14 million very excited players. Very excited players. Okay, 80% of them, real sweet, real nice. That 20% that's not, oh boy.
I kind of feel like that's how it is with most communities.
It is. But when there's 14 million of them, though,
yeah, that's a whole different piece.
That's spicy.
They're passionate.
They're a passionate bunch. Pokemon Go players, they love to love.
Like it's kind of weird because I remember when Pokemon Go first came out and like it took the world over. Like it was my first time. Like what I remember, like I was out doing the whole Pokemon hunt, and there's this white guy in like this leather biker vest with tattoos all over, beard and piercings, and I'm like, all right, I'm about to get hate crimes.
Yeah, that goes one of two ways, I feel like.
And he looked at me, he was just like, hey, there's a Squirtle over there. It's like, oh, fucking go. Like, for the first week where Pokemon Go came out, I think it defeated racism, but then racism came back.
Here's what, you want to know something real crazy? So in the news last week, was an article about this guy who just got convicted because like he an adult man in his 60s and his son like assaulted somebody for like taking over the Pokemon gym in their neighborhood. That's what I get to deal with.
I hope to God they were Team Valor because we don't play the fucking game.
I'm Valor, shut up!
Mystic!
Oh, I love Red Team. I love Red Team and all things.
I love Red. Yeah.
Mass Effect, Renegade, you know, like I got a Red Team in all things.
Pokemon Go facilitated the finding of a missing person's body.
Really? I didn't know about that one.
Pokemon Go out here solving crimes.
Solving crimes, making crimes. my favorite Pokemon Go memory is like a couple years ago, there was this feature called X-Raids, in which like if you regularly raided, you would get a chance to be invited to a special raid at a special location at a special time with like a bunch of other people. And you show up, and in this case, our X-Raid location was inside a petting zoo that had weird hours, which meant when we had our like timed raid that like me and probably 50 other people were there for, the petting zoo was not open. So what we did is we would pass all our cell phones to the children and then put the children over the fence, and they would go into the petting zoo and put all of us in the raid and come back, and then we would give them more phones. And, like,
you just pass phones through the fence.
It's just like
trespassing children.
We trespass children into a petting zoo in order to do a raid.
Pokemon Go fans are built different, I'm telling you.
All I know is that there was one time we were just walking around downtown. There's a big group of people that were doing it, and someone yelled, "There's a Vaporeon across the street," and everybody ran across the street into traffic.
Yep. There's been a lot of like car accidents and shit like that from Go. It's insane.
Well, I mean, like really early on, there was no motion tracking or anything like that, so you could cruise and go.
I saw people doing that, like drive-by Pokemon trading.
Yep. Or like there was like people offering services for a while, like give me your account details and I will walk for you. And like basically what they would do was like fucking DoorDash, right? And so they would put like 6 phones across their bike and just like bike around and do their regular job while also getting cash on the side for like leveling people's Pokemon Go accounts. You know, it's people are built to with ingenuity inside them, and you have the power to choose what you're going to spend that resource on. And some people spend that resource on Pokemon Go.
You know, and honestly, when Pokemon first came out, I was just like, there's 150 Pokemon, and then after that, I guess this franchise just dies.
Yeah, I know. Joke's on us. They've put out like what 700. I think there's like 700 Pokemon now or something like that.
Oh God, how many
don't know much
Pokemon
about
are
it,
there?
too.
As we all open Google.
Pokemon. 923?
Okay, that was more than I thought. 123. And then, I don't know how many more are coming in the next, Violet and Scarlet.
How are you supposed to catch them
Gotta
all?
catch them all.
And some of them are region locked.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're like really crazy, then you have to get the shiny versions of all of them. So that doubles it.
But okay, all right. This is where I jumped off the Pokemon bandwagon. The shiny ones are the same as the rest of them.
No, they're cuter.
They have different
They
color
look
palettes.
Cute. They look cute.
They don't do anything different though.
But they look. It's about the flex. It's about the flex.
It's about the prestige.
My favorite thing is, and I actually posted about this on Twitter the other day, is like when I join a raid, I will pick my like rarest, weirdest Pokemon to put in a raid because you can see everybody else's Pokemon. So that way everyone can see. In this case, this week it's been shiny Mega Gengar, because when you evolve a shiny Gengar into Mega Gengar, it turns white and it looks like creepy as fuck. And so I'll just send him into every raid. I'll be like, look at my man. Look at my big creepy man.
And you gotta get the different male and female forms?
Yeah, that's true.
That's
true.
I'm scared of Pokemon because as technology advances, I feel like Pokemon's going to be responsible for a lot of technological advances that we're not even considering. Like AR, like Pokemon Go, I feel like they helped a lot with that. Like at some point, they're just going to get into genetic manipulation and start making real Pokemon.
What's cool is we actually released our like AR tech that's free to people to use to develop their own games now.
Oh.
It's called Lightship, and like a lot of people have been like, I was at a FurryCon a couple of weeks ago and someone was just AR scanning people's fursuits into like 3D models that people could import, which I thought was really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
That is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because like, Niantic at its core is like a tech company, right? That just happens to also do a lot of gaming content. And like we just released this NBA game, which is based. Have you guys heard about this?
No.
We released an NBA game called NBA All Worlds, where you like go around and basically collect basketball players to put on your team, and you can compete with other people with your basketball boys.
Oh my God, I just looked it up.
I'm not joking.
And they're doing like the AI version of the basketball players.
Yeah.
Are hooping on a real rim.
Yep. It's honestly pretty cool. I don't understand basketball other than put ball in hoop, make point, everyone yell. But I do think the technology that we're using behind it is pretty cool.
That's insanely baller. That is insanely baller. I'll just going around collecting hoopers.
Yeah, you go collect your hoop man, and you go compete with other hoop boys at your local ball center, arena, whatever this sports place is called. What do you call where you go to play basketball?
A basketball court?
It's a court? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And more shouties over here just getting all of the legal stories with Pokemon Go.
I love it.
There's a police report of armed robbers that were using Pokemon Go to rob people. And they had to spend 2 pages explaining what Pokemon Go was and how and why people are going around and hanging out at gyms.
Oh my God. There's also like on the shittier side of things, because ACAB, like a bunch of police who didn't show up to like robberies and shit because they were catching Pokemon.
I
and,
remember
like, they
that
were
story.
recorded on like body cams and stuff of being like, oh, Snorlax. Just like...
Have you seen? There's one guy on TikTok that is trying to get his house to be a Pokemon Go stop.
There's a lot of people who do that.
He made I think he made a Diglett, like a life-size Diglett outside his house that he's trying to get like
into a
attention.
POI. There's the amount of people. So the way the POI system works is really interesting because like basically once you hit level 38, you have the ability to both submit POIs for approval, and then we have a team that looks them over to make sure they're legit. And the amount of people who submit like their bathroom as POIs so they could just sit on the toilet and catch their Pokemon is buck wild. It's like, I get it, man. But like the whole point of the game is to leave your house. There are plenty of Pokemon games where you can sit on your couch and play. And this one, you're not intended to do that. And so there's this like, we talk about this a lot at work about like how our game is like diametrically opposed to the things that you typically want to do as a gamer. And that's fine. Like that's the intent. That's the goal, is for you to do something that isn't typical. Like we want you to actually go outside. So anytime players try and like do stuff to avoid it, I'm like, nah, dog. That dog don't hunt. Like this is not how this is gonna work.
You gotta move.
You gotta get up. You have to go explore.
So how big of a Pokemon fan were you before you started this?
I was huge. Like I remember playing Red like under the covers at night with like my little Game Boy light. Like trying not to,
I had the Game Boy light too, on the big gray brick one.
Yeah. Trying to like not show my dad that I was like playing video games like late at night. And I still like distinctly remember, and this is so weird, like the first time you walk into the tall grass and find like a Pidgey or whatever, and I was like and I, you know, it stuck with me for years. Like I always loved Pokemon. I played every single game that came out. Like I was always obsessed. I never considered working on it, I guess, but like for me it felt like a pretty natural progression, I guess, because I've always worked in community management and gaming. Yeah. And like I've always dealt with, you know, communities that are a little bit harder to handle because I enjoy that stuff. Like I worked in TTRPGs and LARPs, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Like
if you can do that, you can do anything.
Sure.
Like if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, kid.
People like, here's the thing, is the TTRPG communities are actually worse than the Pokemon Go communities. The only difference is the TTRPG community is smaller. And so I know the names and the faces of everybody who's a piece of shit in the TTRPG community. But like the Pokemon Go community, they're not as bad. They really aren't. There's just more of them. So it's collectively people who are less bad, but because there's more of them, it hits different. But like it's still a really interesting shift for me to go from like TTRPG to like video game.
I mean,
management.
And the other thing, and I don't know if this is true, but I'd love to hear your perspective on it, is I know that there are a lot of people in the TTRPG space that are rather shitty and have amounts of power. Let's just put it out there. I don't know that would necessarily be the case in the world of Pokemon Go, in the sense that, like, do the shitty people in that space also hold power?
I mean, there's a lot of them like social power, I think. Mm-hmm. Like in the same sense that like they might, you know, be like a really popular streamer, or their opinion might be well regarded, or whatever else. Okay. But like so I guess that it's like TTRPGs in the same way that like there are people who hold like social or community sway.
Yeah.
But most of them, I will have to say, like the people who do have power are pretty responsible about it in Pokemon Go. I don't see a lot of people abusing their power. I have to say, like the majority of the people who I deal with in Pokemon Go are relatively chill, and the ones that aren't, I can be like, hey man, you're kind of being a dick. And they'll be like, okay, cool. And the ones that aren't like, here's my strategy with community management in general, right? Whether I am in TTRPGs or video games or whatever else, is you need to train people that they're not allowed to be a dick. And the way you do that is the same way you treat, like, this sounds really awful, but like a dog. When you see a bad behavior, you ignore it. Because what people want with a bad behavior is attention. So like, when you ignore bad behaviors, you teach people what the correct behavior is. And so it's just a process, right? So initially when I took over Go, like, there were some people who definitely tried to like be shitty to try to get my attention, and they quickly realized that that's not the way you get my attention. And so their tune changed. And that kind of stuff is how you change the behavior in a community and try and shift it to something more positive.
And I do have to say, I have seen you go to work in person, and it is always.
It is. Oh, yeah. It is so.
It's a thing of beauty.
You see me on the rough end too. I'm just like taking people out of conventions and shit.
There have been times like I'm like, Kelsey, dude, we gotta fuck this dude up. Like, nah, I got it.
That whole thing from Gen Con where that guy was just like, it's not even that guy, but like the whole like Kiwi Farms crap or something. They were just like sending the point in which they started like calling my grandma and having to explain what the internet and doxing was to my grandma. Like, that's where it got buck wild to me.
Like that's why I always admire watching you work, because there's some things that like I see you go toe to toe with where I'm like, oh, I would have murdered by now.
Here's the thing, is like, at my heart, I would love to be the villain, and the way I manifest that is just by forcing people to deal with me. And forcing people, because what people want out of you is a rise, right? Yeah. And so if you deal with people calmly and just don't give a fuck, like, to me, that's my villain era. It's just being like, you don't get what you want from me. What do you think? Who do you think you are? You think you have power? You think you're somebody in the situation? You're not. You're no one. It's like, you will kneel to me.
I gotta take lessons on that one, because it's always a thing of beauty to watch happen.
I delight in removing problems. I delight in removing problems and getting rid of people who create toxic environments. It's just the best thing for me. It's like, first of all, I get to just do that, which is fun. But then second, I know that what will fill in its place is just going to be better human beings. And so then I get to see, you know, after I have kicked down this like rotten tree, these beautiful little baby sprouts will be born. And I delight in that.
So I don't know if you remember this, but the first time that I met you in person was at Gen Con. And like you had just come in and you're like, oh, and I didn't ask what's wrong, but our mutual friend Marcus was like, hey, what's going on? You just like, yeah, I just kicked the Nazi out of Gen Con. Like, that's how you make an introduction. That's how you say hello.
100%.
I was just like, I'm this person's friend forever at this point.
And the legend spread. Eventually, it was Kelsey dropping down from the rafters and drop kicking a Nazi.
Fun fact: I was actually in the rafters of Gen Con one year. That was fun. We had to get on the roof to take photos of Georgia Street, and so there's this like catwalk that's above the convention hall. And in order to get to the roof, you have to go across the catwalk. So I was literally in the rafters of Gen Con, like.
See, in my head, I'm imagining it like Batman.
Oh yeah,
I know you well enough to know that it was more like Gremlin energy.
Oh yeah, no, I that photo you have of me in that hat is the most accurate photo of me, probably of all time.
My favorite one was the one that of you at Gen Con for the year that we met, where you're just like, you're doing the Gremlin march towards it, and they animated it. That one was perfect.
So we got a question. Are you going to PAX?
I'm going to PAX U. Yeah, I will be going to PAX
Yeah.
Yes.
I will be there as well.
None of my panels get accepted, so that means I can just fuck around.
Every panel that I was brought on got rejected.
I was like, I
Every
have great
single
ideas. I was like, look, I'm gonna do a panel about like I came up with this panel for like convention safety and moderation and like all this other shit, and PAX U was like safety.
You need to have like an off-con panel.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hold a panel at a bar.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Have a beer.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, now with alcohol.
It is what it is, but I was salty about that for a minute. I was just like, damn, every single one.
I was salty about it until I realized that then I didn't have to put the work in and of making a panel at that point, and I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I now have no responsibilities at this convention. I can just like, you know, go and play games and hang out with my friends and drink too much. And then one of the things that we've been doing lately in Pokemon Go is like putting like little Pokemon Go activations on top of conventions. So I'm gonna slap one on top of PAX U so I can catch Pokemon that I want to catch.
I'm kind of surprised there isn't like an official Pokemon Go presence at some of these conventions. Like you kind of feel like those worlds would cross.
Yeah, I mean the Pokemon Company, like they do Gen Con, right? Because they'll do the Pokemon TCG. Go. One of the things I was asking about, like, is it possible for us to collaborate with them to have a presence for Go with some of these conventions? But like, we just don't have the staff and the bodies to like show up and do this stuff. So like, you know, sometimes the best we can do is just throw an activation on top of it and be like, look, here's Pokemon Go at your favorite convention. Have you heard of this game where you catch the Pokemon?
In real life?
In real life?
There's a subreddit that is dedicated to, I don't know if it's a whole subreddit, but I did see a thread where it's just Pokemon appearing in like really hilarious places in real life.
Yeah.
There's like Pokemon at strip clubs and like Pokemon at obvious trap houses.
Oh my god. Yeah. I have some like really sketchy pictures of the early years of like, you know, like bell sprouts in where they should not be. I also just kind of delight in like taking pictures of my Pokemon buddy and like terrible dive bars with me.
Nice. I like how occasionally you'll get like a ghost Pokemon in your house. I think that's the most appropriate place for them to show up.
That's kind of scary though.
I have a graveyard right near my house, and one of the things I really like about the way that they've designed the game is like I go to my graveyard and there are ghost Pokemon in my graveyard.
Hell
and
yeah.
I love that. I remember when the game first came out, you know, and I didn't really know the extent of what it could do. I was like, does that mean like all of them are themed? And so I went to my local casino wondering if I would find like a Meowth, because he has this little coin on his head, and like that's what I associate casinos with. And of course I went there and it was like, no, regular ass Pokemon. And I was like, but I am at a casino.
Lord knows what Pokemon would have popped up at a brothel.
Jesus.
Jinx.
Jinx.
Lickitung.
Lickitung and Jinx. Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime is my least favorite Pokemon.
Mr. Mime would do the 1 potato, 2 potato.
Mr. Mime is single-handedly the reason I have not seen that live-action Pokemon movie, because I saw a picture of him and I was like, I can't do this.
Mr. Mime is an adult man.
Mr. Mime was actually
put on a hat. Like in the movie, he was.
In the movie,
but,
he's
like,
pretty good.
Mr. Mime is an adult human man that someone went, that guy's weird, must be a Pokemon, and then it just stayed that way. Like I like playing Pokemon Unite as far as like, I'm terrible at MOBAs. I am awful at MOBAs, but I like Pokemon Unite. And the fact that there are times, anytime I see a Mr. Mime, I'm just like, that guy's gotta die. I hate him. I hate that man so much. And I will just go out of my way. I don't care what I'm supposed to do. I don't care what my role is. I'm like, he's gotta die. It's an adult human man who's now just playing with these Pokemon and then later will crush him inside of a ball. Like, what? I don't like it.
Mr. Mime was ruined for me when someone, like, the actual, like, not that it's an adult human man, but someone pointed out to me that Mr. Mime's outfit is just Mr. Mime's skin.
Yeah. It's his flesh.
And hair.
So that bow tie is actually...
Yeah, that's flesh.
It's flesh. Do you want a flesh tie? You've heard of skin tags. What happens when the skin tag goes too far?
It's the Halloween episode, everybody.
Welcome.
Okay, so have you seen, this is probably inappropriate, but fuck it. There is a sound right now that's really popular on TikTok of Joker torturing Batman by catching a Vaporeon.
Oh, yes. I was trying to convince our social team to use that TikTok sound. Because we just started branching out into TikTok and like the Pokemon. So I will say, like, you know, the Pokemon company is really protective of their IP, which, you know, I can't blame them for that. But like our approval process can get a little rough. Hi. Hello?
Baby.
Hi. Welcome to the show. But like in TikTok specifically, we're allowed to do kind of like more fun things than we normally would. So I'm really hoping that I can convince someone to use that sound.
For those of y'all that aren't familiar, it's the Joker torturing Batman with the fact that there's technically no laws against having sex with the Pokemon. So Batman's like, don't do it, Joker. Don't do it. It's
yeah, like, it's never going to get approved. It's never going to get approved.
It's not. But God, if it did, it'd be fucking hilarious.
Hi, Thea.
A baby.
My like, fat idiot child.
That's the other thing I don't understand about Pokemon lore. Like, animals exist. Who decides what's an animal, what's a Pokemon?
One of the rules about that we have to follow is that we cannot take like AR photos or post AR photos of Pokemon if a pet is appearing in the same photo.
So you can't post a picture of your cat next to a Meowth.
Correct. Or a Mewtwo or whatever.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I only found out about that one recently. Because I was like, oh, we can do this cute series. And they were like, no.
You're not allowed.
My team replied with a haunted voice, like, no, don't do it. I'm like,
yeah, we can't have that.
Save yourself.
Oh, all right. So we've got questions that we ask everybody. So I'm gonna just, we're almost at hour, so I'm gonna just jump us into the most important one.
Yeah.
Now, Kelsey, listen, it's no secret. I love you. I love you, dear.
Oh, I love you too. Oh.
So this could potentially break my heart. Here we go. There is a secret war in the TTRPG community between those of us who see dice as what they are, fun little click clacks that you should roll and nothing further. And then there are those of us who see them as forbidden candy to be crunched. The question I have for you, so what side of this war are you on?
Let me pose a question to you.
Yes.
Noir.
Yes.
What if we did turn dice into candy?
Well, there are candy dice, and that's not crunching. That's just crunching. And
so we were just okay. There's a distinction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
crunching is when they're inedible, and people just put them in their mouth to crunch.
Here's my concern: is dice are generally the perfect size to choke on and die.
Yeah, that's my concern too.
And as delightful as the dice I have are, one of my friends makes dice like professionally. Her name's Crit Candy, like beautiful stuff. I don't know if I took the set down that I normally use because I like was actually playing with it. But like her mold that she uses is very pointy. and like all I can
Yep.
think about is like the amount of laceration. So I'm gonna say no crunch.
That's
No
right. Lean back.
No crunch.
You join the sides of the angels.
I do like using dice to make things that you can then put in your mouth.
Oh yeah, there's nothing wrong.
Or
with
in
that.
other places.
You know, whatever floats your boat finds a lost remote.
Yeah.
But you don't put dice in your mouth, you sickos.
I'm guessing you're on the other side of this, Anita.
Oh no, I'm team crunch responsibly.
Crunch.
Yeah, that is the side of cowards who are too afraid to choose a side. Yeah.
Crunch responsible.
Be crunch
Yeah,
responsible.
There's Switzerland in this war.
Oh, I see.
Goddamn cowards.
Yeah, you gotta pick a side. I feel like you can't be. You gotta pick a side.
Thank you.
Candy dice exist. There are safe alternatives.
Then you should
crunch.
probably not eat dice then, right?
Yeah, because there is an alternative.
Yeah, it's
You
crunch.
can't Switzerland this. You gotta
Thank
pick
you.
one.
Thank you. See, that's why you got
I have been team crunch responsible since the crunch war began.
Oh, you're right. You should stick with it because it's tradition. That's never been an excuse for anything terrible.
Oh, the spice!
Yeah.
Sprinkle.
Are you trying to call me a moderate?
I'm trying to call you a crotch libertarian. You are the Ben Shapiro of
Wow!
Yeah.
Ooh. There's gonna be a breakup in that house after we're
All
done.
right, I'm out of here. Bye, everybody.
I
don't care about your feelings, Anita.
I've been turning dice into like things that I put on candles because I like my side hustle is just making weird candles, and my thing I think for next year is going to be making themed castles for each class. That way, when your character finally perms, you can light a candle for him and be like, "In the arms of an angel."
That's a really cool idea. I want to make a dead character kit. Like you frame the character sheet, put it in like a wooden display. The dice you use with them, the painting you made of it. You just hang it on the wall.
Idea.
Yeah.
You should do
like
that.
a character notebook. You put that in there too.
And like a picture on the side as well.
Like a shrine.
A little effigy.
I really like that. You should do that. That would be people would buy that more. If you made a side hustle.
I've had that idea for a minute. Just like, you send in these materials and we'll make a tribute to the fallen.
Low cost.
But also I suck at crafting, so like I don't know how to do it.
That's why you're dating me.
Anita's the crafter between the two of you, right? Yeah.
That's true, yes.
I saw a TikTok of you fixing chainmail.
I'm still working on that. The armpits are proving tricky.
Chainmail's a pain, man. Like my favorite, so I owned a couple sets of chainmail over the years. Now I'm too old and fat and I don't care anymore. But like my favorite set was like the foreign one, but like one of them was using the rubber ring, so it actually like body formed to you, and it was not as heavy.
This is 4-in-1, but they used aluminum, and it's soft as baby shit.
Yeah, aluminum's tough because like it's the lightest material you can use, but it's also just gonna like disintegrate into nothingness.
Yeah, I was walking around and I had rings coming off me like I'm Sonic in a gangbang. I was like, well, this sucks.
My favorite chainmail that I've ever worn is actually like shark mail, like the mail that they use to make sure you don't get murdered by a shark, which you can just buy in like a tunic or whatever. But like the problem is it is not made for people who are real sizes. And so when I was a skinny ass 20-year-old shaped like a stick, I could wear that, but not anymore. Like I would be like a chainmail sausage casing in that shit.
Yeah, LARP gear in general does not really.
It's not fat friendly.
It's not fat friendly at all.
Which is wild because like
if I'm
being honest, a lot of LARP people are fun shapes. myself included.
Yeah, we real thickums. We real thick.
And my problem now, and this is both just a mark in life, is that like since I got top surgery, the top half of me is dude shaped, but the bottom half of me is Beyonce ass. And so like nothing fits. And so like when I leave my house, the top half is like hoodie and gym bro looking, and the bottom half is like, oh, look at that booty, because nothing fits it. And so I'm just like, what's happening here? No one knows.
It is the curse of having a luscious ass.
And I've been on testosterone for like almost 8 months, and like it's generally one of the things that testosterone does is when you burn fat and gain new fat, the new fat deposits in different areas. Like it basically starts to deposit where dudes typically get fat instead. And that hasn't started happening with me yet because testosterone's weird, right? Like everyone changes at different rates. And so like I still got this fat ass. Like it is fucking out there. Every time I look in the mirror, I'm like, fuck.
Just gonna remain thick. It's because of you I found out one of the most infuriating things, which is it is easier and cheaper for me as a guy to just get top surgery because I'm vain than a trans person that wants it.
Yep.
Because of gender dysphoria.
Yep. You can get your dude. I don't remember what they call it, like gynoplasty,
whatever.
Yeah. That is something that is covered by most insurances. But like, top surgery, no dog. I had to pay for that shit out of pocket.
I could get rid of these moobs so easy.
Me? No. Nope. I've been actually looking at getting because one of the things you can do is basically get like body contouring if you're trans. So like basically it's lipo, but they then just move the fat to like where the fat should be to help your body basically like learn where fat should go. And so I've been looking at that, and like the cost of that is just like unfucking real. Just insane. I had a dream last night where I got my first shitty beard hairs and like a terrible mustache. So far, the only effects I've had from testosterone is I sweat more, I smell bad, and now I get acne. Like that's it. I've gotten the worst.
You got the worst parts of puberty.
Yeah, legit. Like I've never gotten acne in my fucking life, and now suddenly I have it all over my back, and I'm like, this sucks. Where's the part where I get hot? Like,
I've been on testosterone all my life, and I'm still waiting for it to happen.
Like all you see when you look, and this is the problem with how like being trans and being public and like the kinds of, because media is now starting to accept trans people, right?
Right.
But the only people who they put are like skinny twinks, like, and so like everyone thinks being trans means like, oh, I'm looking hot in my full beard and my perfect body and my faded scars that you can barely see. And I'm just like, dude, my scar is like got keloided over. And so like, it just looks like I have like a fun sausage casing under my man tits. Like, that's just life, baby.
You mentioned that, and I'm like that. I feel like in a very weird way, that's kind of like the same thing. Well, not the same thing, but it's kind of like that thing that happens when like a dude is cast into like the MCU and then like disappears and then comes back and it's like fucking shredded to God. It's like it's money. It's money. Money's the difference.
That's it.
Money and time.
Money, time, and sponsorship. Because 9 times out of 10, anybody that gets shredded for a movie role has like personal trainers that are sent to them by the studio.
Yes.
And a meal plan.
Yes.
And the food is taken care of.
And they make the food for you.
Yes.
Like, you know what I love? French fries.
I love French fries so much.
If I had
because like I'm fucking vegan, right? Like and people are like, wow, you should be so skinny. And I'm just like, bitch, you know what's vegan? Potatoes. Pasta.
Carbs.
I love carbs.
I'm just now realizing how much cheese I consume in my diet.
I love cheese. So I try my best to be vegan, right? But like if I have one downfall, it's motherfucking cheese. I love cheese. I love cheese. I was having a really stressful like night last night because like we had just launched a feature and it broke bad a little bit, and so I was working with the team to like fix it, and then I was also doing this role play performance thing on World of Warcraft, which by the way, like it sounds so. One of the things we do, I'm actually let me take a brief tangent. One of the things we do in World of Warcraft is in-game performances, and basically we have a bunch of mods that allow us to do that. So what we'll do, it's almost like karaoke, where we have a separate like link that you can go to and listen to the music, and then your character model in the game will be like saying the lyrics at the same time and doing like emotes and stuff. So we do full concerts like this. And like we build sets and stages and like full shows. And so I was doing one of these shows last night, but like at the same time I'm like checking my Slack phone just to be like, God, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, and so this feature had broke bad. Like I was like trying to fix this while also like performing this stupid show last night. And honest to God, the only thing I kept thinking the whole time was how badly I wanted cheese. Like just a fucking chunk of Gouda. That's all I wanted.
Oh, you even suggesting World of Warcraft got me looking up to see if I can find my old account.
For a second, I thought you were gonna go with
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna go with cheese. Just suggesting cheese.
No,
Oh.
no. Like, listen, what I was gonna say about cheese is I just now realized how much cheese I consume, and it is starting to wreak havoc on my system. Like,
Right, yeah.
I'm discovering in my old age that I am lactose intolerant, and I hate it.
Everybody is. You want to know what's fun? Everybody's lactose intolerant because we shouldn't be eating fucking titty milk. But it's delicious.
I love titty milk.
So we have to take pills because we're like, you know what I would love to do? Suck on the titty of a cow. So here's a pill for it.
You really gotta ask yourself the question: how did we discover we could drink milk?
I think about these things a lot when I think about food in general. Like who was like, let me shove this whole ear of corn in a fire. Oh wow, it all popped off and became a delicious snack. Like I think about this shit constantly. Constantly. I know I you can kind of tell like beer was an accident, like someone put away like water or whatever and then it fermented and someone was like, this is delightful. But like there's shit like cheese. Did someone just leave milk out and was like, rotten garbage?
I mean,
Let me
there's
put
also
it in
like
my mouth.
there's things like Hakarl.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with that?
I am.
Yeah.
It's there's cultural food choices and like I am the kind of person that even being like vegetarian or vegan, I will try any food once, especially if it comes from like your specific culture or whatever, because I'm fucking curious. But there are definitely times where I'm like, I am not trying to disparage you in your food and your culture, but I also want to know how you got to this place and what brought your culture to eat like, you know, fermented shark in a jar.
That's been coated in lye solution to draw the alkali out of the shark's blood because it's toxic otherwise.
The amount of lye that exists in like, especially like in the European areas of like, let me put lye in this food and then eat it. Like, my brothers in Christ, like why did you make this choice? Did you find your old account? Now I'm curious.
I can't. I don't remember what it was.
Rest in pepperoni.
Like, I've been wanting to jump into an MMO again so bad. I can't play Final Fantasy 14 because I created an account and then they're like, you need your one-time password to get your one-time code to get into your account. And I'm like, okay, how do I get my one-time code? Well, you need your password. But what?
I lost my first Final Fantasy account because of that.
Yeah,
like,
so I think I might just have to make a new one. Yeah. Again.
It's like Final Fantasy 14 is like chef kiss. So like right now I play that every day. I still play World of Warcraft and like I think about this shit a lot because Blizzard is obviously like a hunk of garbage, right? Like Blizzard as a company is one of the Activision can suck my left nut. And like but I also have friends who are working hard inside the company to like both fix shit internally and then like are working hard on products, and I want to be able to support them. So it's this weird catch-22 of like, I want to support my friends who just worked really hard on putting out Dragonflight in World of Warcraft, but I also want Blizzard to suck my love nut. And like, which is like the constant problem in capitalist society of like, you know, having to choose shit like this, like having to choose comfort over bad garbage. I think about this stuff all the time.
Yeah,
like between wanting to support your friends and like there's no ethical consumption under capitalism.
Oh, there's no, because like my friend, like I had posted something about, you know, Blizzard and like, because I almost got hired by them, and I was like, God, I'm so fucking glad I don't work for that company, and which is true. But like my friend who works there messaged me, and she was like, hey, you know, this kind of hurt my feelings because I'm like over here working really fucking hard to fix shit internally, and then you, a very public figure, are saying shit like this, and it makes me feel like I'm not working hard enough to fix things internally. And I'm like, I get it, and I don't know where the balance is with this stuff.
That's rough, because I also don't fuck with Blizzard. Like I don't fuck with Blizzard to the point where I'm just like I'll never play Overwatch for a few reasons, but for like mainly because of Blizzard, and two, because every time they're like, hey, here's a concept, we'll have a black character. They're like, oh, we love that concept, but
make it white. Like the fact that we found out that Mercy was supposed to be a black character, and
Mercy was supposed to be a black man, Ash was supposed to be a black woman.
Mercy would have been amazing as a black dude, and like that's such a fucking bummer. Ugh, and like that one really kind of hit different for me, because like the minute they revealed that, I was like, that would have been so fucking perfect. Yeah, that would have made such good sense, and I loved it. Because like when you see black characters in media, it's always like the big tough man who's like ripped off sleeves and covered his gun.
Doom fist.
Yeah,
got
exactly.
A machine gun for an arm.
Or even like, so, you know, the two healers that you have that are black in Overwatch currently, one of them is like a DJ hip hop artist. Like that's not and I love Lucio, don't get me wrong. He was my main when I played Overwatch, but that is a fucking stereotype. And the other one is like, comes from like Civil War.
I mean, but here's my complaint with, and I'm not sure if it's still true because I stopped paying attention. There's no African Americans in Overwatch.
No.
Mercy was going to be an African American.
He's back. No, he's Baptiste. No, because Baptiste is African. He's not African American.
Yep.
He's African. Yeah, I don't think there's any African Americans. They're just Africans, but no African Americans. Because Lucio's from Brazil, I think.
Yep.
That's wild. That's stupid. Ugh.
So I'm just like, well,
it's so frustrating.
I'm not gonna be fucking with this.
Because like what's frustrating to me is the fact that those character concepts got so far means that employees at Blizzard were doing this work, and then it got high up, and some like CEO or exec was like, no black people in my game. Like that's what that meant. We need more white titties.
Sojourn is Afro-Canadian.
Oh, Sojourn, I forgot. That's close to African American, except you love Tim Hortons.
I mean, true.
That's the only difference between African Canadians and African Americans is Tim Hortons.
And nothing else.
And they would call it Timmy's.
Thank you. I've trained you well. We don't stand. It's the whole reason why we think Avril Lavigne has been replaced.
I mean, I don't know if you've heard that theory, but Jesus Christ.
I have not. What the fuck?
Oh, please explain.
Okay. So, there is a running theory that Avril Lavigne was replaced at one point with just a lookalike, basically. It's the Paul McCartney from the Beatles kind of deal. Avril's dead, someone else took her place. And one of the like key factors is there was an interview that she did like last year, I think, where they were like, "Oh, so like welcome home. What are you most excited about? What are you most excited about getting now that you're back in Canada?" And she said, "I'm really excited to get an iced cappuccino from Tim Hortons."
You don't say it like that.
You don't say
Even
it like
I
that.
know that.
You say ice cap from Tim's.
Yeah.
Or Timmy's.
That's hard. That's not real. It's like how they like a lot of people think Eminem or like Drake are like replicants or some shit. Like I've gone into some YouTube deep dive holes of just like, here's all the videos where Eminem dropped face and his programming broke, and it's just like
I just want you to know, only because it's you, I am signing up for another Final Fantasy 14 account.
Yeah. The game is so good. It's the only MMO that's made me cry.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the story is so good. Like the last expansion in particular, the storyline was so good that I'm literally here like openly weeping, like, and I have never cried at an MMO in my fucking life. And like
I hardly ever pay attention to the stories.
You're a bad person.
The intro of Final Fantasy 11 made me cry.
You fucking skip dialogue, don't you? You piece of shit.
They do.
You're a DM. You know better. Imagine a player going towards you.
I'm a homebrew DM. I only care about my story.
Imagine you narrating and a player just comes up and is like, "Hey, what's up? Listen, can we just skip this and like get to the fight?"
You're a bad person. You're a bad person.
Hey, y'all can hate me all you want to. This who I am, baby. This who y'all signed up for.
This is my toxic trait.
Ain't no sorries. I'm on my Kanye era.
I don't know if you want to be in that era anymore, man.
No.
Let me tell you about MMO.
Holy shit. I've been like mildly keeping an eye on all the fucking like Kanye drama. And like every time I just put yay in Google, Google's like, are you sure?
I hate it.
Next time I play with you, I'm going to say skip noir. AJ.
Listen, you try that with me, you asking for a TPK, and you're going to have to explain to your friends why you got them killed. Oh, I forgot you gotta buy the game. I gotta buy the game again.
Oh, well, here's the thing about Final Fantasy, the award-winning MMO, where you can play it for free up to level 60. You don't have to buy the game until you hit past level 60.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna do it after the show.
Fuck yeah!
It's
so good. That story is so. I will openly admit that the first, like the core game, A Realm Reborn, drags like fuck.
Yeah, it does.
It does very much drag.
I just want to be strong.
I know,
and it doesn't let me.
The expansion afterwards, Heaven's Word, is one of my favorite expansions of a video game. It sits up there with like Wrath of the Lich King for me. It's really, really good. And it also made me horny for dragons, which is just like
valid.
I mean, any game that makes me horny for dragons is pretty legit.
I mean, facts.
Yeah, I would let a dragon bang me.
I don't think you can stop a dragon from banging.
I don't think anyway. Well, I guess it depends on like how big it is. Dragons come in all sizes, I think.
Yeah, they do.
Like I am like a certified monster fucker. There's no way around it. Like every time a game introduces a new monster, I'm like,
do you get to like fly a dragon in this or some shit?
Oh yeah. But like the lore behind the dragons, like there's like some really cool lore of like, you know, a human and a dragon basically falling in love and like what happens afterwards, and it's very cool.
Disgusting.
Disgusting.
Kelsey's just gonna watch me skip.
What's going to be funny for you is when you hit the skip button and then you're like suddenly fighting like a giant weird monster with tentacles after you were just having a casual conversation with tea in someone's bedroom, and you'll be like, what's happening? And I'll be like, I don't know, Noir. What is happening?
I want to see this on stream.
Oh yeah, you should stream it.
All right, yeah, I'll stream Final Fantasy. Hopefully it can have some folks come and join me, because I don't know. All right, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
All right.
The last MMO that I played seriously was Guild Wars 2.
I've never played any of the Guild Wars franchise. I don't know how I've never, like, it's the one MMO I've just for some reason never touched, which it's just funny because I am a certified monster fucker, and that has Char in it, and like I would fuck the Char.
Yeah, like I'm all about the Norn.
Yeah.
Oh, they so tall.
You want the uppies. You just want the uppies.
I love that I've gotten to the point now where people DM me TikToks of women picking up guys like, you know what to do, you fucking slut. Make the video. Make the video.
The worst part was I came across a video on my FYP and it was like someone getting uppies, and I'm like, oh hey, I should send this to Nora, and then you showed up and I was like, fuck.
Beat you to the punch.
All right, we've got another question for you.
Lay on me.
You are the god of TTRPG community or space. You can make any 3 things happen at all. It could be like you snap your fingers and, you know, Wizards gives all their money to like whoever. Like it, like to that level, it could be outlandish. What 3 things do you make happen with your godlyhood?
That's a tough one, huh?
Yeah.
I think the first thing I would do is probably, I don't know. I would definitely get rid of every executive at Wizards. Because, like, I know the team that works on the TTRPG shit at Wizards, and they come up with brilliant ideas, and then they get fucking just decimated. It's very much like we were talking about with, like, Overwatch. And I think that the TTRPG community overall would see the kind of, because when we talk about like the liberals that want to change TTRPGs, like the things that are stopping that we know are the old shitty executives, right? Like, and we could really use a changing of the guard, I think, overall in most TTRPG companies to get the kind of progressive changes that we want to see actually approved and happening, right? And I think of all the larger, and I'm talking about big boy companies, like Wizards does try, but like trying does not mean doing. It's very different. And I am happy with some of the changes that they've made. And I am happy that they've kind of not been silent when people try and use their material to get across like racist and sexist bullshit. But I do think that there's still space for them to be more genuinely progressive, instead of just kind of, because I still feel like there's a little bit of virtue signaling in there that could be fixed. I would definitely, for free, for every single TTRPG company, provide a diversity consultant. Free diversity consultant for all. Because I feel like everyone would just make better games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, and like, I think that the other thing I would try and do is find a way to better amplify and bring to the forefront smaller game producers, because right now it's really fucking difficult to, like, let's say you have an amazing game, an amazing product, the likelihood of it never seeing the light of day is very high, because unless you have the connections via nepotism or a boatload of money, the likelihood of you being able to get this game seen is so fucking low. It's even lower if you're BIPOC or queer. Yeah. And I think we need to really solve that problem. I don't know how, because it's like a whole capitalist bullshit, right? It's a problem in the whole industry. And I think, like, I adore Gen Con, right? I still consult for them. But like their point system is a perfect example for the exhibitors, because it favors people who have been going to Gen Con for years and years and years and can throw a bunch of points in and throw a bunch of money in. And so people who are new have a harder time being seen and being admitted. And that's something that they're solving for. Like, I know they've been working hard when I was actually working for them full time. But like, that is a prime example of like, this old guard needs to change somehow. So we can like get more visibility on the people who are doing good work to make the changes that we want to see in the industry as a whole.
I feel like a lot of these smaller producers could really benefit from like back
business
in the day,
class. Yes,
back in the day they used to have like fucking Wizards magazine, right? And like that was the end all be all of like finding out what's cool in the TTRPG space during that time. Like, I feel like we don't have anything like that anymore.
Not anything that has that visibility anymore. Like, there's a million people trying to do smaller things, like small streams talking about latest news or YouTube videos or whatever else. But there's no one collective place that has the recognition enough to like, someplace like Wizards could do that if they wanted to. But because they consider everything a competitor, they never would. Yeah. It's like, I think about this shit a lot, man. Like, I might not be working in the TTRPG space as much as I used to, but like, I consider that like my home. It's my baby. It's like, I if I want anything to thrive, it's LARPs and TTRPGs. And
like, don't get me fucking started on LARPs.
I know. Oh God, the LARP community really, it bums me out, man. Like, I worked in LARPs for years. And it was really great for like my career and terrible for my heart.
Like, I'm kind of curious as to like how you made a career from LARP. That is really fucking interesting.
Well, the only reason it happened, and it's just gonna sound really brutal, but like the only reason it happened is because my mom died and I got an inheritance and I was able to buy a LARP.
You bought a LARP?
Oh yeah, I bought a LARP. Because like, so I had been LARPing for years, right? I've been LARPing since I was 15, and when I started LARPing, the LARP. So most LARPs that you see that are like big names are either licensed or franchised,
right?
And the first LARP I worked for was licensed, and then the second one, which was Dystopia Rising, was franchised. And so it's like the McDonald's of LARP. And you can just fucking buy a McDonald's.
Right.
And so I bought a McDonald's. Because what I realized is, like, if I wanted to see what I wanted, if I wanted to, like, because what I wanted out of LARP is I wanted a place where young queer people could go and figure out who they were as human beings, because that's, to me, is like the power of LARP is transformative.
Yeah.
For me, LARPing is the only reason why I have a career, which sounds stupid, but like LARPing taught me how to fail, and it taught me how to fail well, and it taught me how to organize a bunch of people who don't want to be organized, and it taught me how to like make hard decisions quick, and it taught me how to be responsible. Which is nothing, I never learned these things in like high school or like at my other jobs, because no one wants to give you responsibility when you're in your 20s because they're afraid of you failing and then losing money. But if you fail in a LARP, it's not fucking real. So you can fail as much as you want, and you can also like learn who you want to be as an adult human being. And for me, I realized that I really liked leading people. And so like I was able to like apply that to what I do in my life. And so I was like, this is really, it's also where I realized I was queer. because I could be a queer person and I could be like, is this something I am as a human being? Like, I could be like, I am a different gender. I am a different whatever. And I could see how that felt on my skin. Right. And I realized that was fucking powerful because a lot of people who play LARP don't have a community and don't have a home. And so you can make a home for yourself here and figure out who you are on people who don't give a shit. And so I went, how do I make this happen for more young queer people specifically that don't have a place? And I then bought a LARP, and it was the queerest fucking LARP on the East Coast. It was insane because the way any kind of LARP or game or anything works is and this is like a pillar of community management for me, is whatever community that you have will form an identity based off of what they see in their leadership. So for me, as you know me, Noir, it was all dick jokes, very queer, very gay, everybody asking pronouns, everybody using they, them as a standard, hard consent rules. And so my game just became like the gayest thing on the planet. It was literally all like 18 to mid-20s queer kids who like would come up to me and be like, is it okay if I go by this gender? Is it okay if I go by this name now? I'm like, yeah, man, I don't fucking care. Do whatever you want.
And that's the antithesis of a lot of LARPs that are out there.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised, like, I suppose this is a better question to ask. You can have people that are like, that came in from traditional LARPs that tried to bring that kind of sensibility to your much queerer LARP. Okay.
And it went one of two ways. One, they went, I feel left out and I want to be involved, so I will accept the way things are going. And those people can learn and grow. The people who are not interested in learning and growing will fuck off. And guess what? I'm cool with it. Because part of running a community is being willing to say goodbye and knowing you cannot be everything to everyone. And some people don't belong in your spaces. And like, I think this is a lesson that TTRPGs and LARPs need to learn in general, is that like, you are making a space. And when you are, and this is a mistake I think a lot of young community managers make when they try and like, you know, when people say like, I'm never coming back to this again, sometimes you just have to go, cool, see ya. And like, that's okay.
Yeah.
That is a-okay. And so like, I bought this LARP. I ran this LARP for 6 years as a viable business. I think I had like at one point 20 contractors who worked under me, and myself and my partner of the time, who we paid ourselves basically when we could. And like halfway through owning this LARP, I lost my job at Hasbro, so it became like a full-time career for me. And I in many ways I loved it, but it was also like really difficult because anytime you turn a hobby or a passion into a career, you A, have a really high potential of burning yourself out, and B, I don't know how to fucking own a business. And I didn't think about that. And so like my hand on God, like my taxes are still fucked. And I have to pay an adult tax man a lot of money to fix my taxes from 5 years ago, because I got a letter from the IRS that was like, you owe us $10,000. And I went, the fuck I do? Because my taxes get so fucked from running a business. And you know what else running a business does? Fucks your credit.
Oof.
Oh, my credit's wrecked.
Ooh.
My credit is a hot dumpster fire.
Damn, I didn't need a business to do that. I just did it on my
So it's like, there's this, and this happens a lot, like, oh, I'm going to turn my passion project into a career. It's like, do you want to do that?
You sure?
You could just sell an idea.
I'm sure about that.
And the funniest thing for me is like, I sold that LARP and I did not intend to do this. This was just like fucking serendipity right before COVID started. So that LARP had lost all value.
Wow.
That was pulling the parachute at the exact right moment.
Holy shit, yeah. I sold that LARP in September of when did COVID start? 2021? 2019. I sold that LARP, yeah, because that's when I moved to Pittsburgh. I sold that LARP in September, and COVID started in December.
Oh, God.
It was fucking amazing. And so here I am with this pile of money that I would not have gotten otherwise. And I was like, that's good.
That's clutch. That's clutch as shit.
Yeah, it's like what I realized from that experience is that I really love running LARPs in the same way I love DMing, and I love playing LARPs. I would never in my life run it as a business again. Yeah. Never. I've had a couple ideas for LARPs I want to run in Pittsburgh, and if I run them, it's going to be kickstarted, so I can just like, here's the chunk of money I have, here are the people who have tickets, and then it's just like, that's fucking it. Like I really want to run a vampire LARP. My friend, my ex-partner, my best human friend in the world, Evan, he and I developed a system for a vampire game because we were tired of giving White Wolf money, because they're pieces of shit. And so we all miss playing Vampire the Masquerade. And so we developed a system called Fading Halos, which is very much about like interpersonal relationships and how they affect you. And like it's very much about like boons and sacrifices and who you owe favors to and who you don't owe favors to, and kind of building those relationships, and that's how you gain power. And I really want to run a game in this system, or maybe run a couple games in this system, and then just fucking sell it. Just sell the whole concept, sell everything. That's my new strategy: is make shit and then sell it.
It's not a bad strategy.
It's not at all. I still, like, to some extent, I feel like LARP is that next big untapped thing. It is. Like, and you can see it. Like, you can see it fucking Wasteland Weekend and Burning Man and all this shit. Like, those are just LARPs. Those are just LARPs for people who don't know what LARP is and have too much money. Like,
we got a question from chat because there's folks that are new to the lingo. Just do like a quick brief summary on what a LARP is.
Hell yeah. All right. So here's what LARP is. LARP stands for live action roleplay, but those words are meaningless. So it's, if D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, is rolling dice to determine character actions, live action roleplay is you do not roll a die. I give you this sword. Can you go beat that man up? Let's find out. Like, it is basically, instead of sitting around a table and role-playing your actions and rolling dice to determine your fate, I literally hand you all the tools to do it in person, and it's up to you to determine those actions. And sometimes live action roleplay is a couple hours. Sometimes it's a full weekend. I've been to one that was a week long. It was a choice, and I would never do it again. That was too much of being a different person. Just wanted to go to an IHOP at a certain point and just give up. I want to learn that lesson for myself. I think now that you're starting to get into LARP, and I feel like you will soon learn the joy of the mid-LARP pizza adventure where you just stay like, kind of fuck this for a couple hours and just go get pizza somewhere in your full outfit. and just be like, just live your dreams. Oh, do you want to hear a dark story of my past when I was like a shitty white person?
Yes. Yes, I want to shame you. No, I'm kidding.
Welcome to my shame. So I'm very like, I like to be very honest about my mistakes, because like I feel like when I was young, no one talked about them, and so I hope other people can learn from my stupid bullshit. So like when I was young, in this LARP, they had Drow, and in order to play Drow, you had to wear the full fucking blackface, right? Oof. Even if you were African American, you still had to wear full blackface, which I thought was funny. You're black and covering yourself in black makeup, and it's like, okay, but like we only had one black person in our whole game, and if I'm being real, as a human being, he was a shitbag, so I didn't really care about him. And so at one point, me and all of my whitey white friends were like, let's all make a bunch of Drow. Because I was like 17 and I wanted to be in charge of a matriarchal society and just order my male friends around, which is still a fun tower trip, even at my age. So I made this Drow character. I made a full fucking white wool dread wig that I wore in full black face makeup. And then at one point, I was like, let's go for our mid-LARP meal. And
No.
I went to a restaurant in full fucking drow blackface and then went to Walmart to get snacks in rural New Hampshire. These are the choices you make when no one teaches you about critical race theory and you don't learn about it until your 20s.
Did you hear from critical race theory is the devil? Oh God! Like no, that's
So is
fucking
Dungeons and
hilarious.
Dragons. Hail Satan.
Yeah. It's like no one, when I was young, I had no concept of this shit. I had one black kid in my whole fucking high school. And like,
You had one?
I think just one. And I think about him a lot because that kid had to do a lot of masking. And like, I feel bad for him as an adult now. But like, in our LARP, the whole system, because this particular LARP is licensed and you can move your character from like LARP to LARP across the East Coast. In the whole of the East Coast, there was one black dude who played this LARP. And God bless his heart, he never said anything to me. Why would he?
I mean, because he's outnumbered in the woods.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking exactly. He's outnumbered by, here's my drow ass in the dark, and he's like, fuck these whiteys. And I'm like, yeah. I like to talk about these things because like I have obviously learned and changed a lot as a human being, but like holy shit, you can still come from someplace bad and not be like a belligerent piece of shit about your mistakes and just like actually change as a human.
I mean, I feel like that's another thing that our space could
Yep.
learn to understand, is that there are people that are ignorant and not malicious, but that's a whole other conversation.
I mean, I feel like sometimes I have a good sense of like when someone has made a genuine ignorant error and when someone is just choosing to be willfully ignorant.
Yeah.
Or malicious. Like a great example of willful ignorance is fucking like the whole Sabine shit, right? Like the stuff she's pulling right now where she's like, I had no idea. Like,
oh, did she post something new again?
Oh my God. So like she's been posting on Instagram, like okay, this is my one rant. If I'm gonna have one rant. Like she posted on Insta. Have you ever seen like that style of Japanese pottery where if something breaks,
the kintsugi?
Yeah.
Kintsugi, and you do. So she posted a photo of herself like that with like she had been shattered and she used the gold lights.
Just posted 18 hours ago.
Oh no, she posted that kintsugi shot was from a while ago.
No, she reposted it and was just like, I am reborn. It's just like, bitch, you are not. Like, get out of here. You are willfully ignorant, and like, sure, you were also abused as well. I do not deny that, but abusers can also like be abused.
Hurt people.
Yeah, and it's like you fucking still have to take responsibility for the bullshit you did. You can't just like be like, I am here. Oh, like fucking get out of here. Get out of here. I got enough of that.
Oh no, she just posted again, and this is my only response, and it's going through the accusations one by one and responding to them.
Ooh, let me open up.
If it finishes off with, I will no longer apologize on a public forum. I made mistakes. I apologize sincerely and publicly. I learned from my mistakes and move on. I will not make those mistakes again. This matter is closed. I continue to strive forward and grow a loving, compassionate global community. That has always been my mission. I may have stumbled, but I get up and keep trying.
Here's the thing.
And the photo has been credited this time.
Well, that's something.
Have you paid your freelancers?
She said she did in this post, it looks like. Oh, she said the majority of people were paid in March. Here's the thing, though. Like, when you hurt people, you don't get to decide when the matter is closed. Like, the person who is hurt gets to decide when the matter is closed.
Yeah.
So, like, you don't get to do that. There are people who I've hurt that still don't talk to me anymore. And you know what? That's fucking fine.
Yeah.
Because, like, they get to have that choice. But, like, you I don't care what power you stand in. If you've processed all the bullshit that you did personally, you don't get to decide that it doesn't get talked about anymore. Like, that's not how that works. Barf.
Yeah, I mean, this. I had a real talk with my sister on our podcast. Dungeons and Dragons, check it out.
I love that, by the way.
I'm gonna link the chat to that. Give me all the links.
And Joy made a good point about community, which is like community implies that community implies that there is a communal goal of making sure that everybody's taken care of in a relationship that involves the transaction of goods and money. Community is like secondary because the primary goal is profit.
Yep.
So whenever I see that now, it's kind of like a red flag. It's just like
super is.
I don't think that Satine's goal is to create a global community as much as it's to create a audience or a fan base, which is that's my goal too. I want to create an audience and a fan base, and I think getting outside of the thought of being like, no, it's my community, like, no.
Here's the thing: is like we talk a lot about like the TTRPG community, and like the TTRPG community doesn't exist. There are like pockets of it, right? Like you can have a community, like Gen Con has a community, right? Because that's a pocket. That is a space. That is a place, and we can, and it's a controlled space. But you cannot say that this giant industry is a community. You can have communities within the industry, sure. Like you have a community, or like I have a community, but maybe not anymore. Well, I have my paid community. That's different though. Once I clock out, they ain't mine no more.
Them ain't my babies. I ain't never seen them babies.
But like when I stream, like when I do like my like VTubing shit, like I have a community that I take care of. But like they do the same thing in the VTubing world. Like they're like the VTubing community. I'm like, bitch, there is no VTubing community. You have your own community and you decide how you manage it. Like, don't speak for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's buck wild. I'm glad that her husband hasn't said anything. That was smart of him.
You'd have to imagine that they at some point have a PR team that's kind of guiding them through this.
One would hope, but I don't think so. One of the things I've discovered is that people only hire PR teams in a crisis situation when shit has already broke bad. That's how that shit goes, because that's how it's gone for every single company I've ever worked for.
True.
You only hire a PR company after it's too late.
It's not public relations, it's damage control.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. People don't understand the power of good proactive PR versus, and this is corporate Kelsey talking. People don't understand the value of proactive PR versus reactive PR.
If you build goodwill, then when detrimental mistakes arrive, then it's less damaging because of the goodwill and transparency you've already built with your community.
You sound like me trying to have a meeting with my executive producer right now. That's what you sound like.
Listen, I'm new to the community management game, but I'm starting to have some of these conversations. maybe don't kick that puppy. We build goodwill, but kicking puppies is known to be what some of the community would say heinous. So if we kick that puppy, we may not start from zero, but it's
your hobby is to step on women and take photos. But perhaps you should not.
Are we already diving into petty prime time? Is that what's happening here?
Proactive PR and proactive diversity and cultural consulting are so underused and underrated.
Yeah, we just hired finally. Like, so one of my kind of pet peeves with Niantic is that like, okay, let me start with the good. My peers, my peers at Niantic, like, I have never worked for a company that I legitimately love all of my coworkers. There is not a single person at my job I dislike. Like, they are all like really passionate and cool, and like I legitimately love spending time with them. They're smart and they care, and like Niantic does a very fucking good job at hiring good people. I love the people who I work with. There is a this is the icky part of the compliment sandwich. There is a lack of understanding and diversity that they're trying to take care of, but it's not there yet. And I have spent a lot of time educating people on best practices in diversity, because our internal diversity team was pretty underrepresented and underutilized. And I am not afraid of speaking up, as you all know. I don't give a shit anymore. I'm 35 and tired. And so I just kind of became the ad hoc queer person who would say shit. Like, for instance, I got misgendered during a company all hands. And like, which just happens, right? Happens. And so I just sent a Slack message to the presenter and I was like, hey, just so you know, for the future, you know, my pronouns are they, them. And, you know, anyone who has any diversity training knows what you're supposed to do is just apologize and move on, right? Like, that's it. You don't need to make a spectacle out of it. And she fucking gets up on stage. Bless her heart, she meant well. And she just went, I'm here to apologize for misgendering Kelsey. Kelsey's pronouns are they, them. We understand and respect diversity here in pronouns, and I just want to say I'm sorry to fucking 800 people. She said that too. And I'm just sitting there like, cool.
What are you supposed to do with that?
What I did at that point was look at my transgender friend I was sitting next to, and we both nodded solemnly at each other. And then afterwards, I messaged her and I was like, thank you for apologizing. Here's what I'd like you to do in the future if you make this kind of mistake. Because, like, again, she meant well. She thought she was doing the right thing. But because there was no training on this kind of shit, like, I'm the ad hoc person who has to deal with this. And so I guess the other half of the compliment sandwich is we finally hired a new diversity director who I'm meeting with when I go to San Francisco next week. So I can just be like, hey, I'm the queer one who causes problems. Would you want to talk?
What do you mean? It's a tech company. Surely there can be no diversity or inclusion problems.
You know what? Out of most of the tech companies I've been involved with, Niantic's pretty good. Like, I have come to work and you see visibly, openly queer. Like, some dude came into work with like a full ballroom gown at one point, and I was like, that's cool. Yeah. Like, live your dreams. No one gives a shit. I love that like, about my job.
I feel like on your resume you should add straight trainer.
Straight trainer. Well, here's the other half of the problem with being like the ad hoc diversity person is that people start coming to you for BIPOC shit, and I have to be like, yo, I'm not black. I can point you in the direction of people who are, and you can pay them.
What? This whole time you have been what?
The whole time?
Damn it, Kelsey.
Like, I can provide general advice. Here's my life as a diversity consultant, because I think one diversity consultant fits the whole bill, right? But the likelihood of finding a diversity consultant who is like fucking every BIPOC, every queer, every transgender, and can fit every bill, like, it don't fucking happen. And so, like, what I have done like in my work as a diversity consultant, I'm like, here are the things I can directly advise you on. I can provide general advice on these topics, but if you want more specific advice, I can hook you up with a consultant who can provide you with those kinds of services, and I can, you know, we can work on that. But like, there's so many times where it's like, but why can't you do all of it? And I'm like, there's some mayonnaise here.
Like, I have that experience once where I was brought in. I was a brand manager. I wasn't even like a diversity anything.
Yeah.
And they were just like, "Can you give us your thoughts on these character concepts?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, sure." A lot of white folks, but in there a lot of able-bodied, fit white folks. And then they're like, "Oh, but here's the section with our,
Here's
more
the
diverse
second
characters."
page.
And when I tell you every Asian woman that they drew had a streak
Of
in
white.
her hair.
Like blue or pink or whatever.
No, no, no. It's lore reasons. That's how they discern their rank.
Fuck that, man.
Different colors and different like lines in the streak in the hair, and I'm like, dude, you can't do that.
No.
It's like, what? I don't get it. And I went and showed a video. Because there's a video of there's a very insightful video that this Asian woman put out about the silent Asian woman and the streak in the hair.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this, like, I consume this stuff, so I'm aware of it. But you should really bring on, you should bring on someone to talk about this that's more knowledgeable. I just have the benefit of having seen a YouTube video. You should probably pay them.
100%. And that's what I do. And like a lot of times people will be like, well, you've given me this information, so that's enough. And I'm like,
no.
You're not putting that on me. Because what'll happen is you'll fuck up and then you'll say, but we have a diversity consultant. I'm like, no. Your diversity consultant said bad company. Bad. Like, and you went on. Yeah.
No, bad.
Like, there's sometimes when they bring you in and it's just like, you're bringing me in to blame me later, and I can feel it in my bones. This is a setup.
There was a period of time at Niantic where after every large company all hands, I would end up almost immediately afterwards have a meeting scheduled with HR. Because I would have said something and they'll be like, hey, we saw you said this. We want to talk. And like, they wouldn't say like I was in trouble or anything, but they'd be like, we just want you to talk to us about it. And I'm like, I will, but I'm also going to yell it out loud.
Maybe that's the secret. Maybe I shut the fuck up too much. I walked into a room a couple of times and I'm like, oh, I'm Denzel at the last 15 minutes of training day right now.
I don't shut up anymore. That's my thing, is I won't shut up anymore. I think part of the reason of that is like what I was talking about earlier is like when I was younger, I had no queer role models. And so like, I want to make sure that I can be the queer role model who yells and lets people know that it's okay. And like, there are some younger people, like Niantic is mostly like a young person's company. And so it's like a lot of like people in their 20s, and a couple of them have come up to me and be like, I really appreciate that you say these words out loud because I'm afraid to. And I'm like, don't be afraid to. The only thing that's happened to me is uncomfortable conversations with HR.
That's usually, the thing is problem with that is that that's a lot of, that's almost enough of a deterrent for people who are socially anxious and awkward.
Yeah. I used to be that way, but now when it comes to queer stuff specifically, it's just like, I don't care. What are you going to do? Fire me? That's fine.
No, I get it. I get that fatigue. Like, there's
sure you do too, because you've got to like double over because you're queer and black, so you've got like the double whammy of exhaustion.
See,
diversity exhaustion.
I don't often talk about it, but I also but there's also that like I'm mass presenting. And my partner is film presenting, and like I have the whole I don't know that I'm queer enough to be queer representation or to like.
You are absolutely queer enough. I'll fucking slap your face.
well, there's that, but then like for example, I don't want to take up space for more queer people if that's if that makes any sense. And so like there'll be times at my job where it's just like, hey, we need a queer representation, we need a queer eye on this. We need like what do you think?
Queer eye for the straight guy, if you will.
Yes. And I'm just like, I can give you my thoughts on it, but like there are experts. We need to bring in experts. And like, yeah, so I'm like, I don't feel like an expert on that kind of stuff. And
here's the thing about representation is there's always more room at the table. So that's not an excuse for you to not sit at the table if you are queer.
Sure.
And like, I think about this a lot because a lot of people think they are not queer enough or not like whatever enough to have an opinion. Mm-hmm. And it's like, your experience is different than mine. And therefore I still need to hear it because like what you've experienced as a queer BIPOC, like mask presenting dude is wildly different than mine. And like, you've gone through like way different experiences than I have because it's way easier, like as an example, for a woman to, or like an AFAB person to come out as queer and to come out as transgender or to come out as whatever than a dude, much less like a Black dude. Like you don't see that publicly a ton. So I think that like that is an opinion that we need to hear. So I don't want to discount your own experience.
Oh no, and I enjoy having this conversation. I think and there's a cultural aspect of it that comes into play too, in the sense that I'm gender nonconforming. Like I was raised with a whole lot of toxic nonsense, and I'm like, nah, I don't agree with that. Let's not do that. And as a Black person in general, there are a limit to the amount of seats available to us in most places. And when it comes to queer, femme-presenting Black folks, that number is halved.
You think so? I feel like it's bigger for queer.
I feel like it's much harder for queer Black femme-presenting individuals. Like it's much harder. And so those spaces that are curated for that, I understand that while technically I fit into that category of Black, queer, non-binary, it's hard enough for people that are femme-presenting and Black as it is. So I benefit from some of the privileges of appearing masked. So because I benefit from those privileges, I don't feel that I have the right to take those spaces because there are so few of them, and it's hard enough being Black, femme-presenting, and then adding queer on top of that. Yeah. If I were to take that seat, because technically I can, while technically right, I feel like there's an ethical issue at play there. And so if I get the privileges of appearing masked, then I should also take the responsibility of being masked and leave those seats to the people that experience the hardship of not being masked, if that makes sense.
It does. And I get it. And I think the hard part is like, everybody has privilege to some degree. Mm-hmm. And it's really easy when you are living as someone who thinks about diversity on a regular basis to discount your own kind of experiences in order to make space for other people. And I think to a certain point, you also have to just let yourself take up space. Because like, I think we as queer people who like think a lot about this shit are very willing to just give other people space for their experiences and then kind of leave our own on the sidelines, which can be like ultimately damaging for ourselves. Yeah. Because then we don't give ourselves space to like have experiences and share our trials and tribulations and also the joys that we have. And so sometimes I'll just be like, yeah, fuck it. This is for me. This is my time. And I will still try my best to use that privilege that I have to amplify other voices while I'm in that space. But like, yeah, you fucking deserve to be at the table too. And like, I think about this a lot in terms of like, I have a lot of like white cis dudes or like white cis presenting dudes who feel like and this is like sensitive feeling stuff, and like I think my immediate reaction to this opinion is just like, oh, that's dumb, like shut the fuck up. But then I really think about it, I'm like, okay, that's valid. Where like my white cis or cis presenting friends think that because that we need more queer diversity, more women owned, more Black owned businesses, that they shouldn't be doing anything in the industry at all. That like that space needs to be saved. And I'm like, no, there's space for everybody. There is space for everybody here. I don't want to drive you out to make room for other people. That's not how this works. I want to make sure that if, in your space, in your game or whatever, that we're making sure it's as welcoming as possible. But that doesn't mean that like I want you gone. And there's so many like white dudes who feel like the best result and the best answer for this is to just leave. And that's not the right answer. Like diversity means everybody, even white dudes.
I think a lot of times people mistake diversity for pie, where if someone else gets a slice, they won't get one.
Yeah.
Diversity isn't pie. Pie is delicious, but no, that's not what it is.
Delicious diversity.
I think on the other hand though, like and I agree. I agree with what we're all saying. This is just one of those issues that's like wildly complicated. And I think I'm seeing through a cultural lens where it's not so much that it's a pie. The issue is that there are systemic operations in place that exist solely to make it so that there are only so many of folks that look like me.
Yeah.
And of that portion that's allowed to be at the table, the mass presenting gets a bigger, it has an easier access into the door than a femme Black presenting individual. And this isn't so much like there's only so many pieces of pie. This is a systemically enforced pie. It's a systemically enforced habit that's weaved into the culture of our country. So like I don't even think people I think there are some people that don't even realize that they do it. But it's so like that's why we say it's impossible to live in this country and not be racist.
Yeah.
There are some things that you do and you don't realize you've been trained to do. Crossing the street when you see a Black guy walking down, that is something that you've been conditioned to do. Clutching your purse a little tighter if you're in the elevator with a Black person, that's something that you've been conditioned to do. And that's on the street level. On the corporate level, on the corporate level, they're conditioned to, okay, we've got our main cast and let's get our requirements. And the requirements to a 60-year-old fucking white guy is like 2 Black dudes and a Black woman. Let's go. And like we're so used to see, like let's look, like if we take a step back and look at like Friends, for example. Friends was a show that ran for like 7 or 8 seasons, set in New York, and you can count the number of Black people on one hand,
which is insane. Like I thought about that like recently, because like New York is like it's not that white, my dude.
We look at it and we're like, that's fucking, like we look at it now, we're like, that's fucking weird, but like that show ran through all those seasons.
Yeah.
And folks were fine with it. And that was a decision that somebody made in the boardroom. And it's just like being on that show was transformative for a lot of people. It changed their lives. And there are some opportunities that exist that in our nerd spaces that are transformative and they can change people's lives. And so knowing what I know, seeing what I've seen, living what I've lived, in embracing the desire to want to do better, I think that I'm okay with having the responsibility of knowing that sometimes the right move for me is to open up the door for somebody else. And like I think the ultimate way that we get that to change is that we keep doing what I think you're doing, which is to get in on the corporate level, and then we make those decisions. So, like,
Hi, Joy. Welcome in.
Oh, fuck.
Hi, Joy.
Friends took place in the 90s, right? Clearly, black people
weren't invented until the 2000s. Yeah, that's true. That's really true. I forgot to like mention that. We should, the black people weren't invented until 9/11.
Black people were an inside job.
Black people can't melt steel beams.
And on that note, I think it's about time we take our break. We've been at this for 2 hours.
Black people. I'm just muttering the phrase black people and laughing, which is not a good look. Don't fucking clip this.
Black people hit the Pentagon.
Someone in tinfoil hat like Grognar is gonna cap this and put it on YouTube.
Everyone say thank you to Samuel Jackson for inventing black people when he was on snakes on a plane.
Thanks. Thanks, bud.
Thanks, Sam Jackson.
The Samuel Jackson was the black person progenitor. There was no others before him.
The template.
Sam Jackson is the proto nigga.
All right.
And you see, that's me exercising a privilege that I guess you don't have.
Nope. I got nothing.
We cannot respond. We
I
cannot
have no
engage.
power here.
I told y'all this shit was gonna be unhinged in the first 5 minutes.
All right, everybody. We will see you in about 10 minutes. All right, we're clear. Jesus Christ.
Holy fuck.
And we're back. I got the timing right that time.
Hell yeah. We did it, gang.
Getting better at it.
We did it.
Dab.
All right, that was the whole goal of our show. We'll talk to you all
That was it.
tomorrow.
We can fucking end it now.
All right. Bye,
It's
everybody.
over.
See you
All
later.
that.
right.
See ya. All that discourse we had, fuck it.
None of it was
Okay.
important. Fuck it. All right. We are on the second half, which is the dark roast, where we talk about more serious things, or at least we try to, but it
We
usually
got
does
really
not.
serious in the first half. What are we
I
talking
know,
about
right?
now?
We always do that. We're not good at what we do here.
We just like calling it the dark roast. It doesn't actually mean it. It's much like LARP. Those
Yes.
words mean nothing.
Those words mean nothing. All right, lay it on me. Lay it on me.
And the first part of the dark roast is a relatively new feature of the show, which is petty prime time.
Petty prime
So-
time.
If you would like to subtweet someone, this is the place to do it. And I'll give you an example. Let's see. What's a good example? Right. So it's kind of funny how I've seen a lot of people talking about how we should not be going to cons, and I am seeing them at cons. I don't have a problem with going, but I'm just trying to maybe keep that same energy is all I'm saying.
Here's my problem, Mark. I don't. And you know this about me as a human being.
Mhm.
I am very blunt and very honest. And if I dislike something, there is no subtweet. I'm just like, fuck you on main. My pettiness is just like, it's all out there. It's not petty. It's just like,
It's not petty prime time. It's petty all time.
I'm from New England. We don't know how to do petty. I'm from Boston. It's just out. It's just out there.
Well, if there's anything you want to get off your chest, here's the segment of the show where you can do it.
I'll tell you a funny story to start off with. Because speaking of being all out there all the time. So I have a friend named Joe who has been kind of like my video game and role play partner since I was like in high school. We met in AOL chat rooms. Role play chat rooms on AOL. That's how we met.
Ooh.
And we've been friends ever since.
The
And
old times.
he and I are like have been like a dynamic duo for many, many years. And between the two of us, I am the more overtly spiteful We're both spiteful, but I'm the one who says it out loud.
Right.
But for whatever reason, he's the one who gets blamed for it. So there was a moment where we weren't like Tumblr famous, because that's a bullshit thing, but like we were known in the Tumblr community for like Star Wars: The Old Republic for a period of time.
Right.
And like I would just say shit from my mouth constantly because I don't care. And like between the two of us, people would always say it was Joe that said it, and that was Joe that did it, and it's Joe that is a bad person, and I could get away with anything I wanted to because it just get blamed on Joe every fucking time.
This poor guy.
Every fucking time. And it still happens now in like our adult lives. Like we'll go somewhere because we work conventions all the time. We still run events on MMOs, and if something happens, he will be the one that gets blamed for my bullshit constantly. Just constantly. It's an accepted facet of our life together. So the problem with me is I mean I could give you a list of things that I hate, but like anyone who reads my Twitter will know about it. What do I hate lately? Let's think about it.
Let's the latest hate it.
Hold on, let me actually open my Twitter, because like my problem is I also like I don't hold grudges. I get over things really quickly, so I don't always remember what I hate.
The exact opposite of me. I hold.
I know you
righteous.
Like and that's the other thing about Joe and I is like I'll forget like what someone said about me or some shitty thing that someone did for like instantly. And so I'll have to ask Joe, I'm like, hey Joe, why do we hate this person? And he'll be like, here's my 5-page dialogue on why we hate this person. And I'm like, thank you, Joe.
You have a hate assistant? I love it.
Yeah, he's there to help me remember why I dislike people, because I will fucking forget. God, all right, what do I hate lately?
Hater hours.
Let me look.
Petty prime time.
Petty prime time. Oh, I don't really hate this, but it's funny. I got a photo. So I've recently gotten back on Tinder because I don't have friends and I don't know how you make friends as an adult. So I go to a dating website to make friends as an adult.
There is actually Friender, I think it's called.
I don't think anybody would I would never use something called Friender. That sounds terrible.
That sounds like Friendster, which
yeah. So I have am I allowed to link things in your chat, or will it ban me?
Absolutely.
No, you're good. Go for it.
Okay. So I put this picture up in my Tinder profile because I think it's a fair representation of who I am as a person. And it got me banned on Tinder.
For anybody watching the VOD, it's your Animal Crossing avatar with the dick flag.
It's a beautifully illustrated dick flag.
It's quite tasteful.
It's got shading.
It does.
I shaded the dick.
Shaded.
Yeah, it's a cell shaded dick.
The
and
splooge
it's got
is
stars
artful as well.
It's got artful splooge. I worked really hard on it, and I put it on my Tinder, and I got banned from Tinder.
Bumble BFF and also Meetup if you don't fear kidnappings.
Yeah, I mean Tinder also now has like a friends setting too, and like here's the other problem I've been having with Tinder lately. So when you're on Tinder, you can, if you're non-binary or gender non-presenting or queer or whatever, like there is no option to just show up for everybody. Right. You can be like, I want to appear on photos of people who are looking for men, or I want to appear on photos of people looking for women. Those are only two options. And so if I'll swap back and forth between the two, because you can do that at least. And so when I swap to appearing on men's stuff, no one will ever message me, or no one will ever swipe. I could go for 1 million years without everyone ever speaking to me, like a desert. But the minute I swap to appearing as a woman, people are like, hey, let's hang out, let's be friends, whatever, because I think it's just like generally more appealing to people. Like it's easier, anyway, we were talking about this earlier, it's easier to be female to male than it is male to female when you're trans. Like it's easier to be femme presenting than it is like mass presenting, I feel like, because like I don't know, like you see that more in media, it's more accepted. But like if you're born as a dude and you are a woman and you got a ding dong, no one will ever speak to you.
It is a lot of internalized transphobia.
Yeah, and there is a friend setting on Tinder. If you open Tinder, there's like a find friends thing on the front page now. And you can do that and just scroll through people who are looking for friends as well. I'm gonna tell you, I haven't had any success with it. I had one guy who asked me if I had a pee-pee, and I told him I have many in a drawer that are not attached to my person at any given time. But not the one attached to my person is, also has some other things with it. It's like a bonus package. So...
Listen, I need y'all to know I'm in a group chat with Kelsey and a few other friends. And like,
I'm a crime in that chat.
Y'all compare PPs like it's like you ever see a gun nut talk about their gun?
Yeah. Oh my god, I've shared so many pictures of my various dildos.
They're like, this one's recoil really kicks.
I've had a problem in the past where I will get drunk and buy a dildo, and drunk Kelsey thinks that sober Kelsey can fit a lot more inside of them than is actually possible. And so I will get a dildo in. Oh yeah, it's like the nipple combo. I should talk about that after this. And so like I will get a dildo in the mail and open the package and be like, this is never going to fit inside of me. Not in my wildest dreams. Like, drunk Kelsey, I appreciate your enthusiasm and your belief in me, but that is never going to happen. And so they just sit on my shelves like an exotic art piece.
Like, and they talk about brands and shit. Like,
oh yeah,
I got linked to a website there, and it's like, yeah, check these out. And I was just like, there's no fucking way.
Was it Kudu Voodoo or was it Bad
I think it was Kudu Voodoo.
I love Kudu Voodoo because those are like fun art pieces. Kudu Voodoo stuff. And also I love Kudu Voodoo because the company, the owners of this company have vaginas, unlike a lot of dildo companies where they only have buttholes. And so like they're built, if you have a vagina, listen, you have different needs.
It's true.
You have different needs.
They have whole storylines.
Oh yeah.
Each one of these dicks.
There's
and like,
lore.
And like some of them are like
they thick.
Big boy.
Yeah. They thick. One of them, the whole storyline is based around moths, which I think is fun. I don't even think moths have penises.
The Mothman might.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, oh, he definitely does.
We've seen the cake on the Mothman, though.
I will never understand the obsession with the Mothman.
Do you not like to fuck weird monsters in the woods?
I'm scared of the woods.
This it can be scary and horny. Speaking of LARP, you know what's really fun? LARPing? Having sex in character. That's fun. That's good fun. Technically illegal. I've never done this. It would have broken every game's rules I've ever played. Have I done it? Yes. Let me tell you, banging in character slaps. I'm a powerful elf warrior, just taking it up the butt in the middle of the woods in New Hampshire.
That sounds like the lyrics of the most confusing and baller folk song. I'm a powerful elf, Lord.
I'm a powerful elf, but I'm taking it up the butt.
New Hampshire.
Yes, this is the Dark Rolls, the much more serious.
More serious. I think I've had more sex LARPing than I've had at conventions. Because you know how some people go to conventions and get horny?
Yeah.
I go to LARPs and get horny because then people are playing pretend as they're like cool characters, and I find that way more appealing than you as a real person.
Listen, I don't know how people go to cons and get horny. Like, it's...
Dude, I don't... Like,
it's so weird.
The most I want to do is like make out with somebody, maybe. I think, you know what my problem is that every convention I've gone to in the past several years, I've been working. And so
I think that's it.
The concept of like, you want to make out, I don't want drama. I'm working. Like, I can't just ghost you afterwards because we're here for 2 more days. I can't do it. Like, can you imagine? I would be horrified. Can you imagine Gen Con? I work Gen Con. It's like the safety consultant banging someone or making out with somebody at a con.
Yeah.
I can't. I have to be a good boy.
That'd be a bad look.
I can't. There is no horny on Maine when I'm at a convention. Maybe it impacts you because I'm not working. I will look at someone and be like, I would tap that, but that's probably as far as I get. It's like I think a lot, and I was actually discussing this with my partner because like I've been pretty like ace lately. Just the concept of sex is just like, I think it's mostly based in stress and me being tired. The concept of sex is just like, nah. But like sex as a concept sounds great. Sex as a concept sounds ideal. Like there's a kink club here in Pittsburgh that I've really wanted to check out. And when I say kink club, I just mean straight up sex. And like it's just a sex club. And I have thought about like going, and I realized that I would be going to just have some place to hang out and have casual conversations with people while they're getting like banged or tortured or whatever. And it's just the concept of sex. I don't want to actually have it. I just want to like
I see that this is happening here and I approve of it.
Yeah. Or like sometimes I'll be like, oh, maybe I'm going to be sexy and have sex. And then I think about the logistics of it and I'm like, I'm going to take a nap. Like, it's just like,
you walk into a sex club like a fucking district manager expecting a Starbucks.
Exactly. 100%. And I'm just like, I don't think so. And so like I have forgone joining this because there's like a membership. You have to like, you know, do all this shit to confirm you aren't like a creep. And which I appreciate that they do that. Yeah. But like every time I think about filling it out, I'm just like, what am I going to do though? I'm just going to show up and be like, yes, I see you're fornicating. Well done, sir.
I'm here for the atmosphere.
Honestly though, I think that would go over better than you think. Just walking around with the clipboard, seeing some kinky shit go down. Approved.
Well done.
I mean,
go stop from everyone involved.
There are people that go to karaoke and don't sing.
Yeah, and I hate that.
I love karaoke.
Fucking make me.
Why is it that when you guys were doing karaoke at Gen Con, like the karaoke bar was like fucking a million years away? I wanted to go. I wanted to go, but then I saw how long it would take, and I was like, again, it's the same thing as sex. Like there was too much effort involved, and I was just like, I can't.
I didn't pick it, and I committed before I saw how far it was.
I saw how far it was, and I was like, I can drink in my hotel.
I committed, and I was just like, well, this is what I'm doing now.
I do like how our hotel at Gen Con just became like the drink zone every night at like 4 a.m.
Oh my God, yes.
That was fun.
Like, and that, I mean, like, going back to Gen Con, like, that's, again, like, you mentioned, like, you know, you had your responsibilities, and so you knew, like, you can't be horny on Maine. Like, I feel like that one thought separates, like...
Do you know how many Twitter accounts I have? Because I'm afraid of being horny on Maine. I have 5 different Twitter accounts that are all just cultivated for different hornies on Maine. Incredible. So I can never be caught.
No one will ever know.
No one will know.
Keep it secret.
There is one person in this chat right now who knows, I think, all of my horny on Maines. And I know she's in here. But like... He knows all of them, but like that's it. It's a rare treat.
I mean, but like just that self-awareness, like that's all we need from more people. It's just like time and place. Maybe y'all should be responsible.
Worry a lot about like, because you know, like obviously sexual assault at conventions is like a huge fucking problem. It's a problem enough that I get hired by conventions because people are worried about it. Like that's the problem has given me a job, and that's unfortunate. And it's like the people who go to conventions, like, I am here to fuck, and I'm like, my dude, my brother in Christ, the people who you want to fuck are working. They do not want to fuck you. Calm down.
I'm here to work, and I'm here to network. I'm not here to network like that.
Like, that's not the place. It's not the time. It's not the time, nor is it the place.
Neither nor.
No, because like after I'm done working at a convention, you know what I want to do? Never perceive anybody for at least an hour, just nothing.
I want to sleep.
And then I want to drink, and then maybe I'll perceive you. Maybe.
If you're lucky.
It's just the whole thing just gets frustrating. Cause like that, and it's in all nerd spaces where motherfuckers just like the shit that just came out with Rooster Teeth, and
what a fucking disaster. I feel bad too, because one of my favorite streamers just got rolled into Rooster Teeth like 2 weeks before that. And Blizzbear, and I fucking
Blizzbear, yeah,
I love that guy. Great human being, and then like. Suddenly, also the most like genuine and sincere, kind streamer on Twitch has like a larger platform, and suddenly he's just like, here I am, like fucking represented by these shitlords, and like I assume by now he has ditched all of them, but like I felt so bad, so fucking bad, and it's like Rooster Teeth is such a mess. Like sexual assault has always been an issue in our industry, and I think that's partially because like the culture has always been so cis-white male dominated, where people don't understand the level of privilege they have.
Yeah.
They don't understand that like when you hold power in conversations, it's really hard to back out from that. Like there have been so many situations where I acquiesced to a stupid white dude shit because I was afraid before I am the human. Like now, Kelsey now just give no fucks, but like mid 20-year-old and younger Kelsey was like really wanted to be one of the bros, wanted to be one of the dudes, and like would go through a lot of shit in order to fit in, up to and including getting sexually assaulted, because that's just what, and I didn't know it was that. Like, but like when you're in that scene, you just think that's part of it. That's like a fucking rite of passage. It's disgusting, and it's still an issue in our industry.
And I'm like, nobody's been able to find a good solution because this shit keeps happening.
No, and it's like people are speaking out about it now. And here's the thing: is like I talked to this to actually let me take a step back, because like a lot of companies are afraid of hiring someone to handle these problems, because then all those issues are out loud. And I'm like, here's the thing. Or they'll feel like because you have a person there that then there's going to be an uptick in incidents instead of like a downtick. And I'm like, that's not how it works. Because when you put a person in that position who's taking care of these problems, it just means you've created a safe space. So there are going to be more reports, and there are going to be more issues that are brought to you to resolve. It's not like those issues are new. They were always there. Now you just know about them. Right. Like it's not generating new problems for you. It's bringing the same problems out loud. And I think that's a thing that a lot of companies are afraid of, right? Like, I don't want to see these things. I would rather be in the dark. I would rather not know about them, because if I don't know about them, then they're not there. Like, I can't see racism, so racism doesn't exist.
I want the plausible deniability is what it is.
Yes. Yeah. And it's like, if you want to fix shit, you have to bring it into light. You have to talk about it out loud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like a lot more energy has been spent by people and corporations going, I'm one of the good ones, rather than actually solving the problem.
Yeah. It's like, here's all the good things I'm doing. It's like, cool. You and everybody else. I also donate to several charities. I don't fucking talk about it on Twitter every day. Like I want a dick sucking because I've donated to somebody. Like that's not how it works.
I just always want a dick suck.
Yes, you can always suck my dick. That is there regardless.
I have many.
Yes, I have a variety. We've recently discussed this. What shape would you like down your throat today? Some of them won't fit in a harness. We'll have to do this the old-fashioned way.
You gotta get a heavy-duty harness. It looks like the fucking, like the chastity belt at the end of Robin Hood.
Oh, yeah.
The locksmith.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, actually, I have a funny dildo story since we're on the topic. So I've been going to furry cons for many, many years, and like any community that exists, like TTRPG community, like anything, there's also like a group, there's kink and sex involved. And I can remember we were working a convention in Atlanta, and the table across from us was selling horse dildos, and their claim to fame was that it was cast from real horse dicks. And that honestly just put way more questions in my head than it did answers. And I think a lot about that. Cast from real horses.
As someone that has grown up with horses, sometimes they just leave them hanging.
It's not allowed. It's animal abuse. Bestie, that is illegal in most states. Not all of them, unfortunately, but most states. Yeah, it's like Mr. Hands. If you're old enough to have lived on the internet to know what Mr. Hands is.
I want to know. Did somebody go at any point, wow, this horse dick I bought is real nice, but I can tell it's not based off a real...
Honestly, I have heard these things come from people's mouths. I have heard these things come from people's mouths. I love furry cons and I love furries. And we were talking earlier about how furries are genuinely like wonderful and good human beings. But just like any community, there's, and like, I'm not here to kink shame you. I won't yuck your yums. As long as they didn't hurt animals in the process. If you want your most realistic horse dick possible, you be you.
More power to you.
Be you. It's not my thing. I remember when Anthrocon still allowed, like they're like getting much more chaste in their shit. So like they're not allowing like people doing any kind of 18 plus anything anymore, which is a whole nother conversation about like the return to like morality, which I despise. But like when Bad Dragon, who's like the big boy amongst the furry dick makers, had a table there, what they would do basically in order to make it safe for families is they would have these like covers, like these cylindrical domes basically over all of the dicks. And so you could tell which ones were the biggest problems because the cylinder just got bigger.
The biggest problem.
You go from like boop, 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 boop. Like it's just
you can see the level of difficulty from a mile away.
Oh yeah. You know which ones are the most popular on Pornhub just from a glance.
Those are for rookie assholes. Those are for grizzled veteran assholes.
But now, unfortunately, like all conventions and all everything, the return to morality and pure heart means that we're not allowed to have anything adult anymore ever again.
I understand why to an extent because like there's like their Deviant Cosplay comes to JCon and I love Deviant Cosplay. It's a cool website, but some of the creeps that were hanging around that booth just be a while inappropriate to a lot of the people working at that table.
I have this conversation with Gen Con every year. They're like, should we allow deviant cosplay? And I'm like, let's examine the reasons why you feel like this is a problem. Is it a problem because the people that they attract? Because if it's that problem, then we should get rid of those people. Because the people who are doing the work themselves are not causing the issue.
Yeah.
Is the problem that you don't like titties? or dicks, because the sticking point I had a couple years ago was like, so they keep all their shit inside their booth, right? And you go inside, and so I guess someone on staff went to go check it out, and then they expected titties, and what they did not expect was dicks. And there's also just like dicks there too. And so I said, what's the difference? Like, one makes you more uncomfortable, but like that, there's no tangible difference between those two things. And if that's your problem, then that's not good enough. If your problem is you're trying to make this as family as possible, like, you know, I can see that argument. But there's also a lot of other things in this hall that we allow, like people with artwork with like, you know, titties everywhere. And we have like really super, you know, artists that are old school who have like the big bugangas and tiny waists. Bugangas and the tiny waists. And, you know, we allow that.
And the broken
chainmail
backs.
bikinis.
Yeah. So what's the difference between that and this? Because if you're going to make a ruling, you have to apply that ruling to everybody. And I think people like to make exceptions, right? Based on their comfort level. And it's really hard to make a decision that's truly unbiased when it comes to stuff like morality and sexuality. Because I think like most people who are our age, like I discovered my sexuality and sex and all that stuff through the internet. Like, who didn't, right? Because like I know at my school or anything else, like we didn't even have a sex ed. So I don't think like we're like morally harming or scarring children or whatever by having these artists or having like people who are sexual in their presentations there. What's more harmful is the people who are allowed to abuse those people, because that's what's teaching people what to do. Yeah. Like if you bring a kid into a space and they see someone who's like, you know, dressing provocatively and then they're being treated with respect, that's way more impactful than having, you know, someone dressed provocatively and then just being like, wow, big bazookas, honker. Like that's gonna teach a kid what's cool.
Or someone dressing provocatively and someone reacting with anger rather than creepiness as well.
Yeah, like I think about this stuff like a lot.
I mean, the thing is, the people that worked at the Deviant art booth, they're the sweetest folks.
They're
like,
great.
They helped me find my booth.
Yeah, they're normal, regular fucking human beings. I think last convention I had to deal with like one creep who showed up there was being like real gross, and so they have their own security too, which I think is also smart. Yeah. But like having to go over there and like, because like basically when I work conventions, I go and check in with people who are like more vulnerable, right?
Right.
So I'll check in with folks who are vulnerable to make sure that they're okay. And if they're not okay, then I'll fix the situation. But I think most of the time what I do is I just be present, because people are deterred when they see someone who's present. And I remember swinging by that booth a couple of times just to make sure people are okay. And they're just like the fucking sweetest people. Yeah. They're just literally, it's their job. It's their job. Just
they get paid to be a fucking sexy cosplay.
Yeah. Live your dreams, man. I love that shit.
Yeah. Nice people can be sexy too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Nice people can be sexy. Evil people can be sexy. That's my problem.
All right.
I'm the villain fucker. That's my issue.
There's so many of you.
I know. One of my favorite. So here's my dark sin. I get paid too much money now. And so I commission a lot of artwork for my characters. And one of the people I commissioned like is obsessed with, and I say obsessed in like a very, I love it way, not like in a derogatory way, with drawing her D&D character getting fucked by Strahd. And it's great.
Here for it.
Yeah, I'm also here for it. I'm just like, that's nice.
That's nice.
That's just good fun.
Just watch your strong go whole hog on a character.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Wait, you can buy that? You can commission anything.
You can. I have commissioned some art. I have commissioned some TM art, like of some some shit, both of the horny and non-horny variety.
You can find no safer work artists.
I love taking my beautiful, pretty princess dress-up characters and like I was a child, smushing them against another doll and saying, "Now you kiss," in my fantasy world.
Yeah,
like getting art of it.
Folks are doing that with their Final Fantasy 14 characters.
I do it. Do you know how many? I have so many I call them crimes. I have so many crimes installed on Final Fantasy to make my characters look like hot.
I didn't know you could mod an MMO.
Oh yeah.
Yes, Joy, you can get that.
Art of Red Hood. Yeah, do it. Oh, the world is your horny oyster. We're teaching your sibling about the world. Get ready.
I was like, cut the stream. Say psych right now.
Is Joy older or younger than you?
Younger.
It's the little sibling energy.
Hell yeah.
Little middle. I got a little middle and a little.
Oh, boy. I'm the youngest in my family.
Samesies.
Listen, just let your character get fucked by Strahd. Yeah, spine breaking. Ben, you know what else is cool about art? It's a fantasy. So even unrealistic proportions, who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
No one cares. I used to be like, when I was role playing when I was younger, I was like, I want my character to have realistic proportions and lifestyles and blah, blah, blah. Now I'm like, he got a big dick. Also, as I recently taught Anita and Noir, sometimes big dicks can be real.
It's true. And I'll never be the same.
So on to the next feature of our show.
You gotta grab the reins of this runaway horse.
There's a new feature of our show called TTRPG Confessions, where you confess to what your worst habit at the table is.
So I'm gonna say my worst. Don't say worst. I'm gonna say my worst conventional habit that irritates my DMs is I have my phone out at the table, and that's because like I have ADHD so bad, and like if I do not have my phone out, I cannot pay attention. I cannot pay attention to fucking anything, and I know it irritates every DM, and I totally get it, but like I cannot do a single task. It has to be multiple tasks, or I'm fucked. And so like I will have my phone out, or I will, if I'm playing a game that's on Roll20 or something, I will have a tab open with another game where I'm like mindlessly crafting or running in a circle or some shit. Like I fucking have to do that. So that's probably my most like bad conventional habit. My bad unconventional habit is I just make characters that are not functional.
That's fun though.
I think it's good fun to have a character. We have a friend who we play with who's just like, and I say that he's probably like the kindest, healthiest min-maxer I know out of the min-maxers, but he's a min-maxer. And me, I'm just like, I took this skill because it's fun, but I ruined my whole build with it. I just don't it's bad. Like all of my characters are just non-functional, and like I'm in combat or I'm in a serious scenario, and I'm just like, this isn't gonna work.
I like purposefully making spellcasters with like no offensive capabilities because I think that that's more fun.
The last game we just finished a campaign, and I was playing a fighter who was built kind of okay. But the caveat was like, he was an absolute dumb shit. And I played him like that. I played him like a bag of rocks. And like that caused some issues. My current character in our new campaign, we're starting a Strixhaven campaign, which I'm very excited to do some like good old college teenage angst. And I made a Tabaxi frat boy. And I will be rolling that to its full potential.
Oh my God.
So I guess my biggest sin is I commit to the bit. like 100%.
Oh no, I love that. I love that. Anita, you got any sins you want to confess?
I don't have any sins this week, but I do have a petty prime time.
Ooh.
Oh shit. Oh, please.
Pinky out. Let's go.
You don't have to prove to everybody that you're the smartest person at the table, because you really aren't. You don't need to one-up everybody all the time.
I told you guys about misery dicking. I might have mentioned it to Noir. I don't know.
Oh, no, you're going to have to tell me about misery dicking.
Misery dicking is when someone has to be the most miserable person in the room, so they keep trying to get a bigger misery dick than you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, misery dick. And like that's my least favorite thing. The same way someone has to be the smartest person in the room, someone has to be like the most suffering person in the room. And they're like, oh, you'd be like, oh, my cat died. And they'll be like, well, my mother's been dead for 20 years. And it's just like, oh, okay. Like, it's like, we don't have to play misery dick. You can also be sad. Like, it's cool. There's enough room for all of us to be sad.
There's enough sad in the world.
Yeah.
You do not have to be the most.
So smart dick is a thing. Misery dick is a thing. I fucking hate misery dick. Oh. I guess that's my petty prime time. I hate misery dick.
There you go.
Oh, let's see. I've done my petty prime time. Here's my confession. I'm not gonna do homework. If your game involves me doing a lot of homework, I've shown the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's about the extent of it, and like that's as far as I'll go. I'm not gonna do homework. Like I'm not. I got shit to do. Yeah. I'm not gonna do homework.
I don't take notes. I never take notes. Like we have in our current party, we have one person who takes notes, and God fucking bless her. I would be fucked without her. I would be fucked. I worry about the like, because like we rotate through DMs, and I worry about when it's my turn, and she's taking notes, and I just don't have access to them anymore.
No, see, that's where you offer a reward if the notes are posted.
Oh, smart.
Extra XP or a magical item if you post your notes on like a Google Doc.
Here's a question for you, Nor.
Yes.
When you run a game, how thoroughly do you plan? Are you a planner or an improver?
Oh, everything that I've ever done behind the GM screen is 100% pure improv.
Yeah. Yeah. So the way I work is I have a rough outline of like story beats I want to hit. I'm like, this needs to happen, this needs to happen, this needs to happen, and then the rest of it is improv. Like, because I've been LARPing enough that I can navigate people without making them feel like they're on a rail. Like, because that's really the thing. Is like you want to make people feel like they're not on a railroad. Like
I feel like
that's why I feel bad saying skip.
Skip.
Fuck you, AJ. I love you, AJ. I feel like the people that have a hard time improvising as a GM. Okay, that's a bit of a blanket statement. Let me say that if you are one of those GMs that feels like part of your enjoyment at the table comes from outsmarting your party or from winning, then you can't improvise. Or it's going to be much harder, or it's going to be very blatant what you're doing, if that makes sense. But I feel like if you are a GM that enjoys seeing your players win, then it's much easier to improvise. Because, like, I feel like the best GMs are fans of their players and their players' characters. Like, I love almost every character that has been brought to my table. Like, I'm a Jimmy. Like, I can't tell you enough how much I love Jimmy Skeets. Like,
Jimmy
Skeets. It's me, Jimmy Skeets.
I love that little rat bastard.
It's me, Jimmy. What you got? You got a sandwich over there? What kind of sandwich you got? You got some prosciutto? I learned that word. It's a good one.
But the thing is, like, so if you're a fan of your players' characters, it's like when you watch a TV show, like, Oh man, I fucking love the Superman TV show. Wouldn't it be cool if?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of how I come at GMing. Like, I love these characters. Wouldn't it be cool if, for some reason, they had to jump out of an airplane to figure it out? Like, and so we put them in an airplane and see how they figure it out.
Like, I have a friend who I think is a fan of people's characters, but I think the problem is that, like, he needs to have like he needs to know what an NPC is going to say beforehand. Like, he can't improv dialogue. And so, like, because of that, he has to think about like what every NPC knows, what they might say, and so he has to like write all this shit down, and it makes it challenging to do that.
One second. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Joy, Lalon became the captain of a pirate ship, went and bought a Starbucks and took everybody that worked in the Starbucks and made them become pirates on her lesbian pirate ship.
Oh, that's good.
That had a Starbucks in it.
That's good. You know what, Nora? I mentioned this. I think I mentioned the system to you before, but I feel like you would really fucking love the Q system. Because it's built for improv, man. It's built for co-op storytelling. It's built for improv. It's my favorite RP system in the whole realm. It's so fucking good.
She's pro-union, baby.
I'm gonna have to give that a look because, like, you're the second person to suggest that to me, and I really want to give this a look.
I'll send you I will send you the shit for it. It's like so fun. So the Q system is a TTRPG system. Instead of using dice, you use a deck of cards to determine wins and victories. But the cooler thing about the Q system is the character sheet. The way the character sheet is built is you. So, like, as an example, hold on, I'm gonna pull up an old character sheet just so I can like fucking pull a real example. Oh, that's the quiet ear. No one wants that.
It's Q like the letter Q.
Q like the letter Q. The Q system. So, like, when you look at a character sheet for the Q system, it'll say like what your skills are, and you, instead of putting like sailing or whatever, you can put like a phrase or a thought or something, like, and that is your skill, and then you as a player have to basically improv what that might mean. And so, like, as an example, like, one of your skills could be like, I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer. And you get to determine how you execute on that. Or like, there was a character where every single skill I had were all lyrics from Radiohead songs. So like, there was one that said jigsaw falling into place was one of my skills. And so I got to decide. For me, I was like, okay, cool, I can use this skill as like I'm a manipulator, I'm a planner, like I can put things in the right direction to get what I want out of it. Another one I had was just, again, a Radiohead song. It was called Knives Out. And so that was like one of the combat ones I used.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I love this system. It's amazing.
I'm about to fuck with this.
Yeah. And so the way the combat system works is every player has a deck of cards, and each suit is attached to one of those skills. And so you flip your cards on screen, so you get that tension of like, what is this card going to be? Like, what's happening right now? Because like, unlike D&D right now, if like you're doing D&D, you don't see those rolls happen on screen, but with the cards you do, so it's great for streaming. And like, let's say you get a tie, the thing that happens is you up the stakes of that situation. And so like, basically it's like, let's say you're like, oh, if I win, I convince this man not to hurt us, and you get a tie, and the DM goes, okay, cool, we're going to up the stakes. If I win, he is not convinced by your situation, and he's going to arrest you. But if you win, he is convinced by your situation and he helps you. So like, you get to, and so sometimes you get double and triple ties, and the stakes keep constantly escalating, and it gets so fucking tense and so beautiful. It is one of my favorite systems. It is so fucking good.
That's from Biohazard Games?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great human, by the way. He's also the guy who developed Blue Planet, which is another great system and setting. Oh, Just good shit.
All right, yeah, I'm about to fuck with that because that sounds fast, fun, and
So
not
good.
D&D, which I'm getting real fucking sick of. I'm not gonna lie, like,
I don't blame you.
all right. There's 2 questions left for you.
All right, lay it on me.
If you could play any TTRPG with any 5 people that have to be alive right now, who you picking? Who's the GM? And what are you playing?
Okay, so since we're talking about this, the system is the Q system. Because
Okay.
I love that system, and I think it's really great for good roleplay. So my ideal sessions for TTRPG are high roleplay. And I say high roleplay, not like, hi, I'm like fancy boy. Like I love playing characters. And this goes back to LARPer in me, right? Like the thing that I find engaging is not rolling dice and beating the dude. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Like, I love losing. It's great. I love playing characters and building stories together. So when I look at who I want at a table, I'm looking at like who are the best people who can play characters. And so like, I'm also very biased because I have a lot of friends who are like great role players. So I could mention like, like fuck Matt Mercer, Brennan, like blah blah blah. Like I don't, they're fine. They're all fine. They're voice actors. They know how to look cool and sound cool on camera. But like my friends who I've been role playing with for fucking years, who make cool characters who I find compelling and awesome. Like I find that like way more interesting. Like Noir, you're one of my favorite people to play with because again, you will commit to the bit. Like you will commit to the bit. My friend in this chat right now, SB, who I have been writing with and role playing with and playing games with for years. Like I will pull her into a game any fucking day of the week. And that's like on my ideal list of people who I like playing with. I have I mentioned him earlier, like the person who I bought a LARP with, his name's Evan Tessier, who is like the other half of my brain. A creative powerhouse, makes beautiful stories, intimate characters. I will pull him into a game any fucking day of the week. Any day. He was my co-writer when I made LARPs. And we did just fucking beautiful stories together for years and years and years. I met him on World of Warcraft role-playing together. That's how I met him.
Hell yeah.
I met SB in this chat on Star Wars The Old Republic. This is how you know, because I meet people through their characters before I meet them as human beings. So I'm just like, oh, your characters are so cool. Let's hang out. My friend Joe, who I've mentioned several times, is probably one of the best writers I've ever met in my life. And like I will drop anything to go play a game or write with him because he just makes compelling, painful, in a beautiful way stories and just like creates gorgeous worlds that I'm so deeply entrenched in and fascinated by. And I will fucking gobble that up like a whore whenever presented to me. And so like there are a lot of fucking amazing, well learned and played DMs in the world and players in the world, but ultimately I just like playing with my friends and making cool characters and I just like playing like cool dolls and cool dress ups and mashing characters together.
Aww.
I just want to play with my friends, dog. Maybe if we got like a professional DM so we could all play together, because I think that's the problem is like, so Brennan can DM for us, I guess. And then we can all be in the game. So we can all play Pretty Princess dress up and Brennan's orchestrating it. So we can all just have our fun stories where we all cry and laugh.
Start talking about Brennan behind his back.
That's I think my ideal scenario is like all of my friends who are great writers and great creators of characters and orchestrators of stories to being able to play in a game together with having someone who's just talented as a DM, I think is the ideal world for me.
See, I feel so bad because we're about to follow that sweet answer up with just heat. Just
Ooh.
If you've been in the TTRPG space long enough, you've probably had the displeasure of playing with a that guy at the table. A that guy is somebody that if they were yeeted into the sun, your experience at the table would increase tenfold. So, Kelsey, have you played with a that guy? Do you have a that guy story for us?
Yup.
Here we go.
I knew you would.
Here's the thing is, I'm actually going to take this out from TTRPGs and put it into LARP because I get that more commonly. That guy at LARP is way more a problem because they're not only just mentally in your space, they're physically in your space.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like the thing about LARP, and then this applies to TTRPGs too, but LARP is like, you have to be collaborative because you're there with like a fucking 100 other people, right? And so you have to let other people be the hero, and you have to let other people play, and you can't be the dude all the time. And there are so many people, and unfortunately they're typically like mid-20s white dudes who will just want to be the guy all the time. And it's like, my brother in Christ, you can't do that. I have to give other people opportunities, but like there will be times where I've run plot lines for specific people because like one of the things about LARPs is you submit your character history and then I use that character history to fuck with you because it's a delight to my heart, right? Like DMs do that too. The difference is because I have so many characters, I'll often like mash them together like peanut butter and chocolate and be like, your character stories are similar. I'm going to mash you together and you be friends and now you have a friend in a LARP. Great. It's awesome. But like inevitably that guys of the LARP world will just make it about them and like how he will make himself the hero of the story or the sad person of the story or the villain of the story every time. And it gets really tiring. It's like everybody wants to be Batman, but not everybody can be Batman all the time, man. Like you got to take the cape off sometimes. Like let someone else be the hero for a little bit. Oh, you criminal. Sorry, this cat is here to steal food. I have to stop him.
No worries.
No!
Food
Baby
thief.
cat! Baby cat! That's baby cat. He's 21 pounds.
Oh, baby.
He was 27 2 years ago. He's on a diet. So like the that guy in LARP, I think about a lot. And like, how do I satisfy the needs of this dude to be a hero while still giving space for other people to feel cool? Because like the that guy personality can be so fucking dominating.
Yeah.
Like they just take up so much space. And so oftentimes what I'll do is I will give them like a problem that they can mull over, but that problem has to be like a secret. And so like I will like be like, oh, you're these people need help, but if everyone else knows about it, then they will get murdered or something or whatever. So you have to keep it quiet. Inside voice. And so like they'll go solve that problem.
You're a very special boy. You're
very special.
Oh,
so
The
special.
chosen one.
You're the chosen one, but no one else knows. Shh.
If anyone finds out that you're the chosen one, they'll be in danger.
Yes. Ooh. So like that's my strategy for dealing with that guys. But like everybody wants to be a that guy in LARP. Everybody wants to be like that. That's the nature of LARP. If you're coming to LARP, it's because you want to be a hero. It's because you want to feel cool.
Right.
Like if you are LARPing, you want to be fucking cool. And so I have anywhere from 50 to 300 people who want to feel cool. And that can be like really, really fun to try and balance.
Oh my. Somebody's got to be a fucking dork here.
Yeah. I quickly realized that my delight in LARP, and I think, so when I first started LARPing, I really liked being the hero because I was like, actually, I didn't like being the hero. I like being like the dramatic, like shadow. I'm in the corner of the bar being ominous, like blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, if you're ominous in a corner, no one comes and talks to you. If you're just the guy in the corner of the bar, if you're fucking Aragorn out there with your little pipey pipe, like.
Well, you need one of the hobbits to fuck up
shit.
in order to be properly Aragorn.
Yeah, like it's that dog don't hunt. Like you can't do that. And so what I realized I actually like doing at LARPs is just sitting around with my friends and making in-character dick jokes while we smoke hookah.
The
you know
best.
what's really fun? Making in-character dick jokes and like coming up with in-genre dick jokes. It's a delight. Like, why wouldn't you do that?
Oh, God, I'm so ready to fucking LARP.
I want to LARP with you now. Like, okay, legit. So here's what's gonna happen, man. Like, if you want to go look at that LARP in Illinois, like, I will fucking go with you.
Let's fucking do it.
Oh, and I will go with you, and we'll make a character backgrounds that like coordinate with each other. That way, if everyone sucks, we can just role play with each other. It's great.
Can
Fucking go! Like,
I've never LARPed before.
Oh, I'm taking you LARPing, bitch. Oh, oh, I'm so ready.
I've never LARPed before, but I had one roommate that was very into the SCA.
Like LARPing for old people.
Yeah. It was very much
old people and also old horny people. Everyone at the SCA is poly and secretly loves kink.
Good to know.
Oh my god, yeah, I have seen
that.
Some shit
Actually makes
SCA
a
events.
lot of sense for the person that I'm talking about.
I'm not. I mean, it's a generalization. It's a stereotype, but it is a fucking. Stereotypes are based on truth.
I could see it though. Is the thing.
Someone has to explain LARPing to me one of these days. All right, here's LARP. Are you ready? Are you ready? Here's LARP. You've played D&D, right? Judging from the conversations about unionizing and pirates and Starbucks. So LARP is just D&D, except it's you as a human being. So instead of rolling dice, I give you a sword, the sword that Noir hold just moments ago, and you beat the shit out of somebody. And if you win the fight. There's no dice. You just fucking beat the shit out of somebody. It's great. And it's kind of like a combination. I got into LARP because I loved sports and I also loved theater. And I realized that I could combine those two things together because I could be a cool character and I could also just beat the shit out of people, which was ideal.
That's great, though.
And that's what LARP. There was a period of time when I was young, dumb, and full of cum that like I took kendo and fencing specifically to just to figure out how to beat up people better at LARP. Because there were so few female-bodied women, female-bodied people at our game who were fighters. They were all healers. It was all people bringing their girlfriends. It's a shitty stereotype, but that was very accurate of the LARP scene in the early 2000s in the late 90s. That I was like, I'm gonna beat up the boys. Yeah. And I was like, I have no idea how to beat up the boys. So I literally took combat courses so I could figure out how to beat up people better. Oh yeah, you can hit Noir.
A girl I
know did that, but with Aikido.
Oh, nice.
Try to hit the wall.
You could kill him. You could
try.
Depending on the game system, you could murder him. He could never come back.
You can attempt it.
I have died many a time at a LARP. Let me tell you.
I've got decades
of this sword experience.
Oh, pent up rage to deliver onto you, Joy. Decades!
Oh my god.
I will fell you with this blade faster than you could ever possibly imagine.
I've heard stories that they've been arguing since Joy was a toddler.
You come and claim my arms if you want them, man.
If you
will finally be the eldest.
Killing me doesn't make you the eldest.
It kind of does by default, though.
Well, yeah, I guess if you die, you stop aging.
That's true. That's true. I will take your birthright, brother.
We ain't getting shit from our family except trauma.
Yeah! Childhood trauma! The truest stereotype of TTRPGs. Who's normal who's ever played a TTRPG? Fucking nobody. Shut up.
Nobody. That's why everybody's
like a normal human. Have you ever met like a normal ass human being?
What are those?
In like exist? A TTRPG scene?
They're disgusting is what they are.
I have never met like a normal, well-adjusted, like I never had any weird issues. Neurotypical. Yeah, I've never met anyone like that in the gaming world. And I'm not even like
I know
that was the joy, but that was also very typical of the conversations we're having here. Like, that's well adjusted. That's good. That's healthy.
Uh, you all see how I just try to have a good, normal show and my sibling is bullying me?
I'm
She's
actually super hot and normal.
Sure.
You were trying to date off blood type.
I mean, that's good if you ever need like a liver, I guess. Did you guys know that people's kidneys and livers can like regrow if you donate them?
Yeah, if you only really donate half of your liver if you donate it.
I didn't know that until recently, and I thought that was pretty neat.
Kidneys don't necessarily grow back, but livers do.
Oh, it's just livers, not kidneys.
And it's actually, I think it's actually part of the reason for like the myth of Prometheus is that he gets his liver pecked out by vultures every single day as his punishment.
Delicious.
And then it grows back.
Delicious.
You ever wonder why we don't eat people?
Yeah, actually, on a regular basis, I think about that. Honestly, like, I think about cannibalism on a
I mean, like,
shockingly
if somebody
basis.
dies, like, we gonna put it in the ground? Well, make a stew.
Assuming it wasn't like a disease or something, just like fucking eat that guy. That's just a good meal.
You wanted a normal show? I don't think you've got
put him in a crock.
Way.
Put Granny in a crock pot.
Granny in a crock pot. I know there's like a lot of like cultures in which like eating like. Oh, I learned about something very cool recently. Because I was learning about. I watch a lot of cooking shows, as most mid-30-year-old AFAB people do, because we're fucked up. And I was. For you page. Yeah, I was watching this video about like this guy who does like historical recipes, and there was this concept of people. I think it was like in the early 19th century called sin eaters. And basically, what it is like you had somebody who died, right? And the concern was if they died that they had sins they hadn't necessarily repented for. So you made food and you hired like your local poor person to eat that food as a representation of eating the sins of that person so they could go to heaven. Which I thought is like conceptually, like it's fucking cool.
That is so cool.
Like I'm putting that in a story. Like that's fucking sick.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Also, if you're a poor person, free snacks.
What'll be turned into?
Something awesome. Free snacks.
I think that's a great capstone. This has been an unhinged episode of Morning Ritual, and I love it. I am one of your hosts, Noir. You can find me all over the internet as TheNoirEnigma. That's Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. I have a show that I'm going to be on later today called The Reclaimers over on Bright Dystopia's channel. Check it out. I'm also the host of stuff. Oh yeah, I did a Make-A-Wish game with Cooler Master this week. Please check it out. You can also find me every Monday over on Q Times for our Demi Plane sponsored Aliens game, Beacon. And finally, I'm one of the hosts of Dungeons and Dragons, a podcast about everything geeky with a healthy dose of accountability. My co-host in that podcast is an asshole. So,
do you still do stuff on Gen Con TV too? I haven't looked at that one.
That's the other thing. My brain goes fart at the end. I do table takes and table takes games. We gotta have a conversation. And that is me passing it right along to the other host.
Hello, that's me. I'm Anita. You can find me here most times Saturdays for Morning Ritual. On this Friday, occasional Fridays, you can find me over on Gen Con TV for Table Takes game nights. This week, I'm actually going to be running something for the crew over there. I'm thinking of running a little micro RPG called No Nut November, where you play post-apocalyptic mutant squirrels.
Fuck yeah.
Trying to get a nut.
Fuck yeah.
I'm not mature enough to handle that game. I'm not nearly mature enough to handle that.
Well, we'll figure it out. Sexy, cool, normal co-host. And that's pretty much me. I might actually be streaming here later tonight, playing a solo RPG. We'll see how she goes. But I'll pass it along to our lovely guest, Kelsey. Tell us about yourself, where we can find you, what you doing.
Hello, it's me, Kelsey. You can find me on Twitter or most social media places as MX_Danger. You can find me here on Twitch at MX_Magpie, where I don't stream that often. I do stream on my secret VTubing account, which is Katana_Inc. I will actually be streaming there tonight because I have to finish getting. I've been doing a lot of scuffed streams there lately, getting ready for a re-debut. Because I got a brand new model and everything's broken. So if you want to see my sad broken cat robot while I try and fix my streams tonight, that's probably what I'll be doing. I don't have any TTRPGs I'm doing right now, which is
we're gonna have to fix that.
Ones. Yeah, I'm doing a private one. Well, it's Strixhaven campaign. But yeah, you can find me on the internet. I'm there. Most of the time I work. Sometimes I have hot takes about TTRPG world.
As well, you fucking should.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Heck yeah. We're gonna go on a raid. Who's online that we can go say
Who's here?
Who's online? Sam is online.
Total Party Kiss is online.
Total Party Kiss is online.
Let's go say hello to Total Party Kiss. They're
Oh,
playing some Dungeons and Dragons. Y'all, thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with us today. And Kelsey, thank you for chatting. It's been an absolute
Thank you for stopping by.
I am always delighted to hang out with you guys.
Hell yes.
Hell yes. Until next time, everybody, though, the ritual has concluded. Bye, everybody.
Bye.